This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Morgan Freeman of Cactar, Celphane Siasi of Hyperion, and Blueberry Muffin Cake of Swagatonis. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And by Alamo City Comic-Con, October 28th through the 30th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center in sunny San Antonio, Texas. Alamo City Comic-Con celebrates the artists that entertain us through TV, movies, comics, gaming, and cosplay. For more info, including badge prices, celebrity guests, hotel accommodations, and more, visit AlamoCityComicCon.com.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Hero.
We run this show, and I don't give a fuck who knows it.
Kahlo.
Yeah, think before you talk.
Juxtaposition.
I'm kind of a favorite around here.
Ascalia.
Oh, thank God!
And Nika.
All you've given me is a lot of dog penis and woman hating.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 82. Thanks for joining us live here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Excited to be with you today because we have a full crew live in Eorzea today.
I forgot how crowded it gets in here.
Right?
Poor Papa Woody is sitting in the corner again.
He is.
Demoted.
Fucking bullshit.
He had a good solid couple weeks of a mic. That's way more than Juxta ever got before being initiated as a host.
I thought you were going to say that's way more than Juxta's ever had.
That's way more than Juxta's ever contributed. And actually, Papa, I think we read this email on the last episode, but there was a listener who complimented you and said that they wanted to hear way more of you in the show. So.
Well, thank you. That's not happening now.
You know what? I think Kahlo should have to earn his seat and microphone back. I think we should put Papa back in that slot. Oh, do we have to introduce the guest host before he can speak?
Maybe. I don't know. Is that what we're doing here today?
I don't like this. I don't want another little sibling. I was getting used to being an only child.
Welcome to the show, live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Excited to have you along today. We got a lot to talk about. And again, like I said, we've got a full crew joining us today. Of course, Juxtaposition and Ascalia are regulars. And then
the people who actually show up every week.
That's right. And then we've got the people who have been playing hooky. Nika, welcome back.
One episode.
Whatever.
It's one episode too many.
Welcome back.
Asshole!
Thank you.
You guys suck!
So, the chat wants to know, how was your maternity leave?
What?
The chat was under the impression that you were away on maternity leave, and we may or may not have dissuaded that opinion.
What?
Just say it. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just all I'm doing is filtering the chat's questions to you. That's all I'm doing.
I feel like it would be much more well known if that was actually true.
Yeah,
and probably longer than a week.
You would think. Anyway,
I'm glad I took all those child-grabbing classes.
Also joining us, we've got Kahlo. Welcome back. Hi.
I really wanted to stay silent longer, so people were like, "Is he really there?"
Yeah. No.
Yeah. What's up?
Hi. Hi, welcome back.
By the way, this is all like a very intricate series of drops that we've pre-prepared for Kahlo. This is Robo Kahlo.
That was an idea once. I was going to, if I had enough time, which God knows I never did, but I was going to go through old LBR episodes and cobble together a drop board of Kahlo sayings and phrases, And so we would have RoboCallo who would interject every so often.
All you need is Nutter's Gonna Nut. I think that's...
Nutter's Gonna Nut.
Oh, it's back.
It's making a comeback.
Kicking it from the back.
Yeah. I think I had that one. That was the only one that I was able to find. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks for subscribing. Maybe consider, if you listen on iTunes, leave us a little bit of a review over at iTunes. Reviews help other people find the show, and we would appreciate it if you left a review of the show, no matter what you think. Good, bad, indifferent. We encourage you to leave a review. Also, we are available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are available. And you can find all of that over at limitbreakradio.com. If you want to join us live in the studio, we are, of course, broadcasting live from Sergeant Tannis in the Goblet, 5th Ward, Plot 30. You can come and hang out in the studio, wave at the camera, or take all your clothes off. I don't know. That's something that people do when they're in the studio for some reason. I don't know.
Dance on our tables.
That's right. Also, make sure that if you are a Reddit user, I know that we probably don't have many of them that listen to this show anymore, but if you are a Reddit user, make sure you go and subscribe to the LBR subreddit. That's over at our Limit Break Radio. And we post there occasionally. We haven't been too active on there, but I think we would like to encourage our team to get a little bit more active. But this was a subreddit that was formed by our fan base, by our listeners. So
we made it.
No, we didn't make it.
We didn't.
That's the point.
That's the best part.
So
it's the only LBR thing I think that we didn't make.
Yeah, right.
Still waiting on our Wikipedia page.
We don't have one of those. We've been around for 10 years and we don't have a Wikipedia page.
We also don't have action figures.
Yeah,
especially
whatever happened to that?
Especially Juxta doesn't have one.
I know. Juxta, whatever happened to your... Did you ever hear from that person about your action figure?
No.
They were only making it for a class project, I think, weren't they? So...
Yeah, but we should still have seen it.
Yeah, right? Like,
fell off the face of the earth.
Throw out the LBR signal.
They were gonna...
the LBR signal. The Juxta signal.
I thought they were gonna, 3D print one. It looked like they had the model for it.
Yeah, they were sending us pictures and stuff. I don't know, Juxta. Maybe you should try reaching out.
Of course, we are supported by your support over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. This week, actually, a couple of days ago, we got our latest shipment of t-shirts.
Yes.
So the Patreon exclusive t-shirts are...
Pop is not excited about that.
It means that we've created more work for Papa to do. But make sure that if you want to get a Limit Break Radio t-shirt, to head on over to patreon.com/limitbreakradio, where we are currently sitting above $2,000, securing another month for Final Encounter Cast. Thank you guys so much for your support. With that ensures that Final Encounter Cast will be weekly for yet another month. But we haven't actually discussed one of the things that we need to discuss internally. I just realized this is the weekend that I'm going to be gone for Alamo City Comic Con.
I brought this up when me and Jux were walking in. I'm like, so what do we plan on doing for the weekend that Nero's in Alamo City? And he goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're on top of the ball, though.
Great.
Don't worry.
We're going to have to figure that out. But
we've done an episode without a Nero once.
That's right. Yeah.
It went okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I was there to lead it, and there's a good chance that I will probably have to work that weekend.
Well, I don't know, Nika, Juxta, and Ascali.
We can do it. We got this.
Well, you guys are going to have to figure out how to call me, because we're going to want to do like a live hit from Alamo City, right?
No, we're going to enjoy a week away from you.
Yeah. Connection, yeah.
Nero's trying to call again, guys. Just ignore him. Block him on Skype.
Pookie.
Speaking of Alamo City Comic Con, we are supported by Alamo City. The recently announced guests over there include Millie Bobby Brown, better known as 11 on Stranger Things. William Zabka, a.k.a. Johnny of the Cobra Kai from The Karate Kid. You can get a duo photo op with him and Ralph Macchio.
Sweep the leg!
And Jason Font, the Red Ranger of Power Rangers Time Force. Also, other Power Ranger appearances include MMA fighter Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson.
Singer-songwriter.
Is that
She
right?
has 3 released albums.
Get the fuck out of
She
here!
does indeed.
No way!
Yeah.
I
It was
had
also on
no
Flash.
idea.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah, there was a video went viral of her sometime last year. She was had like a little sort of impromptu mini concert at someplace in Canada, and she was wearing like the Pink Ranger getup and everything.
Oh man,
I lose my mind.
Oh, dude, I just got a bit of a fan boner there. Anyway, other prominent guests include David Tennant, Karen Gillan, Billy Piper. Of course, a lot of people know them from Doctor Who. They're going to be doing a photo shoot. I think that's on Saturday. Let's see. John Barenthal is also going to be there. We've also got
Literally everyone's going to be there.
Right? Yeah,
everyone you know and love.
Sting, Peter Weller. We mentioned
Sting the wrestler or the musician?
the wrestler.
Okay.
John Barrowman, Summer Glau, David Prowse, Billy D. Williams, Jeremy Bullock,
Nate Bender.
Yes,
No,
I am going to be out there. Yes,
No, he said
no.
that
That's
we know
true
and love.
That's true.
Right, but we just don't love you.
Okay, great.
Jason Mewes.
Tom Kenny, Mr. Lawrence, let's see, Stephen Ogg, Ned Luke, Dean Kane, Margot Kidder, Christy Swanson, Mina Suvari, Chris Sabat, Sean Schimmel, Joey Fatone. It is a crazy guest list, guys. You can check all of that out over at AlamoCityComicCon.com. If you're in the area, we encourage you to stop by because, yes, like you mentioned, Aniro from Limit Break Radio, a.k.a. Nate Bender from Final Encountercast, is going to be out there as well. You can come meet me,
a.k.a. the A-list star.
That's right.
The A is for asshole.
That's the reason that they haven't announced me officially on the website as a guest, because they knew it would sell too many tickets. They wanted to announce all of the, the little guys first, right?
Let's wait till after all the hotel's cancellation dates have passed, and then we'll announce him.
Wait, are they going to announce you?
Probably not.
I doubt it.
Really, Nika?
No, I mean we've been pushing for ticket sales every single week on our show, and we don't even get a little shout on their page as a guest.
Well, that's kind of how sponsorship works.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they pay us money. That's how that works. Anyway, so AlamoCityComicCon.com is the website to check out. All right, let's check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
Well, this week we saw the release of the 3.4 This says 3.2.
It's 3.4.
It's 3.4. Nice job, outline makers.
I think we should go over the 3.2 patch notes.
just to confuse and upset everybody.
It's on the outline. We have to follow it.
That's right.
Diadem's coming out again. It's the exact same thing.
Anyway, patch 3.4. The preliminary patch notes for that have dropped. You can check those out over at the Lodestone, but as we normally do, we'll give it opportunity to go through them now. Starting off with the playable content, we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of new main scenario quests be added. 10 in
10
all.
New.
Which
Is that up 2 from last time? Was it 8 last time?
I think it was 8 last time. Yeah.
Cool.
So that is hopefully encouraging. A lot of question marks in there in terms of names
No
and stuff.
spoilers.
Yeah. So keeping that spoiler free. Good on Square Enix. New Chronicles of the New Era quests have been added. So that is the final leg of Alexander the Creator. So
he's like standing up now.
Yeah, and also apparently the bubble bursts around him as well. So
No, my Nintendo bubble.
I was like, unlike Nintendo, that bubble has burst.
yeah. So there's a couple of quests associated with that, including maybe one of my favorite quest references ever. Biggs and Wedge's Excellent Adventure.
Oh my god, I giggled really hard at that.
That was that definitely elicited a smile. But other clever names include the Coral and the Colossus. There's a Judgment Day in there. So
Thus spake quick thinks.
Yeah. Okay. Is that supposed to be something that I recognize?
I don't think so. I think it's just saying he's a prophet.
Just saying. All right. So Savage Mode is also going to be available.
Cool.
Who lives, who dies, who retells your story, and you can unlock that at the Wandering Minstrel in Mordona. We're going to see the addition of the Goddess.
Yeah, she looks so cool.
I want to shout out, somebody please cosplay this for FanFest. It doesn't look too hard, and you've still got a few weeks. I would love to see this.
Oh my god.
Do they have to cosplay like the front carriage thing with a face on it too?
That would
be too hard.
That would, I don't know if you could do that in 3 weeks, but the rest of it, you just need silver body paint and a piece of string.
A piece of string?
Nika, you just want to see scantily clad girls.
I'm not gonna lie.
Is that
okay?
Is there something wrong with that? No, nothing.
No,
not
But
a thing.
of all the people
She just looks
requesting
so
it, it's
cool.
Nika.
Hey,
Juxta, is that you?
I love to see this kind of crap brought to life in cosplay because I'm a huge cosplay person. So I would love it if somebody would do it.
I would love to see what they do with the hair, what their take on the hair is.
Yeah, that is
That'd be
pretty.
insane.
I was gonna say, if you just take a trip down to your local Deja Vu.
Fair enough.
So there's a couple of quests that go along with that. Let's see. New side quests have also been added for the Scholasticate. We got 4 quests added to the Scholasticate.
I'm actually excited. The story was cool, but we haven't had an update in literally a year.
Why do you even bother?
Over a year.
Living.
And we also get 2 new Hildebrand quests.
Again, too. Just
2.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're not going to attach any fights to it, it almost feels like strictly fan service.
Why? And the second one is again question marked out, for spoiler purposes.
Yeah.
Because spoilers.
Well,
we have a gazebo to call our own.
Yeah, is Hildebrand getting married in the first part?
No, have you done the other ones?
Yeah.
No spoilers, Nika.
Gazebo in Idleshire where you end up the last mission.
I know.
Apparently you get to call it your own now.
It's my gazebo.
Mine.
So if it's yours, does that mean that you can yell at people to get off your goddamn gazebo?
Oh God, please, yes.
It's going to become an instance zone that you enter. Everyone gets their own gazebo.
Where you can set up planted pots and stuff.
And yeah. /shout just goes, "Get off my goddamn gazebo! Goddamn kids!"
It's funny, this has special meaning for me because of the gazebo at Katsucon becomes a contested space for cosplay photo shoots, and people have gone so far as to cosplay the gazebo. So now that we're getting our own gazebo in 14, I don't know how I can handle this.
That's just almost too meta for me.
I think cosplay the gazebo.
Speaking of customization options, Juxta, I noticed you put up a message in the free company.
Yeah.
and it's capitalized, so he's emphasizing that crafters need to send him a large aquarium when the patch drops.
I want to see some fucking tiny ass one. Come on.
Well, especially because you can only place one.
Yeah.
Which is
Juxta, that's great forethought on your part because you know the goldfish bowl was coming.
Now, here's the question, Juxta.
Everybody inundate him with just nothing but small fish tanks.
You have to actually fish up the fish.
You can just buy them off the auction house.
But have you seen the prices already skyrocketing? Like $200K a fish?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I've got a whole inventory full of them from my retainer.
Yeah, but there's only they're only putting in 13 or 14
I was gonna say
fish.
All of the fish that I've thrown away. No.
There's certain ones, and some fish, like legendary fish, you can only catch certain ways. And what if they bind on pickup?
Oh man.
Okay,
I need to get a Cougarsaurus so I can get my
You're gonna have to
Lushangs.
fish to get us the good fish.
No, we're gonna appoint someone as the free company fisherman, and he's gonna put the fish in the fish tank, and then we're gonna demote him. Skuro?
That sounds like a Skuro job.
Yeah,
That
sure,
definitely.
Skuro.
I thought we fired him.
Every time you guys fire him, I have to rehire him so that our fucking clips on streaming get done.
And it's the fall season, so we can hire him back on for the seasonal.
Oh, we fired the summer intern.
For the autumn.
Okay,
that's
fall
fine.
seasonal intern.
That's true. Fall has started 3 days ago.
The thing is, we just can't keep him employed for more than like 60 days, or he can start collecting unemployment.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to have to pay that.
No, we don't.
yeah.
He's not employed. He's an
that's why we
intern.
don't pay him.
Yeah, wait,
We've
you're
never paid him.
That's fine. Yeah, it's 60%
We
of whatever
pay
you
him
get
in
paid.
exposure.
Yeah.
We don't want him to get too full of
He
himself.
gets
We need to
paid
destroy
in
his
valuable
confidence.
experience.
Yes. The
Experience and
intern
exposure.
experience.
That's the best.
So
the
that's
best
what you
payment.
call this.
That's
Yours
is exactly
way
what I
more
call
valuable.
this.
Yeah.
Valuable experience.
That's right.
Anybody
By the
need
way,
a drink?
I do actually.
That's a winky face.
It sure did.
It did. That happened.
Oh my god.
Oh, why
love
you
it.
so angry?
So we've got a new side story quest for Great Google Library Hard. That's to unlock that. Also to unlock duels and Wondrous Tales. We've got quests to unlock all of those. New Grand Company quests have been added. Squadron and Commander, which is across all 3 Grand Companies there.
Don't yay that, Nika.
Oh, I thought we were getting to the actual rank ups. That's not yet.
Yeah, no,
I was excited about the rank ups. I don't know about the squadrons yet.
Well, I was until I was told that it's just retainers.
It really
Group retainers.
And even
It's more like retainers in the way of like MGS5 was, where you have to make like a strategic group of people and send them on.
Oh my God!
Strategic
I made that
tank
comparison
healer.
last week, and I got made fun of.
Well, really,
Come
no,
on.
it's exactly like that. Plus, also, it also says that certain people will exhibit preference for being with other certain people on the squadron. So if you like parrot people that don't like each other,
It's still okay. Great. So that means they're not gonna bring you back a chub.
That's a great point, Nick. I really like the contribution you've given us.
Oh.
Maybe you should go back on maternity leave. Zing.
Location of certain NPCs for the Moogle Beast Tribe quest from Lax to Max have been adjusted. New items can now be purchased from the Amalja, Ixali, and Vanu Beast Tribe vendors. We've seen adjustments to treasure hunts. The types of Allegan tombstones obtained from Wyvern Skin and Dragon Skin treasure maps have been adjusted from esoterics to lore and from lore to scripture. The following additions and adjustments have also been made to the Aquapolis. The rewards have been added and adjusted. The types of Allegan tombstones have changed from lore to scripture, and the cutscene shown when doors unlock has been adjusted. Also, new monster spawning patterns have been added. That's cool.
Maybe.
Yeah, changing it up.
That's great. A dynamic system, which I don't know. I'd like to see more things like that. That's kind of interesting. Grand Company changes, and players can now be promoted to First Lieutenant in their respective Grand Companies.
That's good. I completely forgot what rank I've been for the past forever.
Max. It's been whatever the...
Yeah, exactly.
Once promoted, the company seals cap will be increased from 50,000 to 80,000 company seals.
Yay.
Yeah, I have to spend seals just to keep it at cap. So,
with the introduction of a new Grand Company rank, new items have been added to the Grand Company Quartermasters, which you can check out if you want to over at the Lodestone. Players can now take command of soldiers in their respective Grand Companies with adventure squadrons. After assembling a sufficient number of NPC recruits, players can deploy a squadron of soldiers on a special mission, reaping rich rewards upon their successful return.
See, rich rewards. These aren't pours.
No fish coming back this time.
All right, so what?
But now we want fish.
Grade 5 materia?
That would be rich.
Can you think of
Not for
anything
long, it
else?
fish.
Fish?
Yeah, now
The
fish.
the fish for the aquarium.
I like how I mean, if you think about it, Square Enix did kind of like take a market that was pretty much completely permanently dead since the beginning of the game, and like gave it reason. Like they're like, all right, like let's give some people a reason to spend money here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of smart if you think about it. But the requirements for undertaking these, you got to be level 47. Also, like a personnel officer, I think is the rank, right?
It's cool that you get
or
like
is
a
that
little
the
office.
NPC? I think that's the NPC.
That's what you talk to.
Yeah, that's the NPC. So you can unlock it at the personnel officer, and then managing your squadrons. Recruit squadron members. A squadron cannot be formed until you have at least 4 members. This can be accomplished by completing objectives in your challenge log, which will attract new recruits to join your squadron. All enlistment papers received will be delivered to your desk inside the squadron barracks.
That's kind of awesome.
We get a desk in the barracks.
Like the more you complete challenge log, the more they're like, "Hey, I want to work for that person."
That's kind of cool.
Is this like? Are we actually just becoming like actual officers? We get to do paperwork and stuff now.
Oh boy.
It's okay. So for all the hate that everyone gives Femrose, I'm going to create an equal opportunity Femrose squadron, and we're going to kick.
How is that equal opportunity if it's Femro only?
You know that?
That's
Nobody hires Femrose. This is a safe space for Femrose.
But
that's affirmative action, not equal opportunity.
We need a safe space too.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if there's not actually any Femro characters.
Oh, I hope there's only 3. Please only be 3.
There was one in the example. Her name's Ingel Swiss.
Oh my God! Please let there only be 3.
When a potential recruit piques your interest, select question when viewing their enlistment papers and call them into the barracks to view their profile. If they are to your satisfaction, you can recruit them to join your squadron. The barracks has room for 8 soldiers. If you have reached this limit and wish to enlist new recruits, you must first discharge one of the existing squadron members.
We'd like to
calling them in for an interview and then saying, "Yes, we hire you," or "No, we hate you."
We'd like to recognize your contributions. Unfortunately, we just feel like we're moving in a different direction at this time. We're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah, we're thinking of taking this in a more Dark Knight tank direction as opposed to a warrior tank direction, so your services are no longer needed. You may also choose to postpone a potential recruit's enlistment or dismiss them when reviewing their papers. Please note that if you postpone enlistment, you cannot review the next application until you choose to accept or dismiss the current applicant.
I'm not sure that's how actual
Actual
recruiting, hiring works.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is, but whatever.
Yes or
I'd
no,
like
and then
the
give
option
them.
to throw them into like a Fight Club little arena with like 1 or 2 weapons
Don't get the
and be
strongest
like,
hired.
"Yep, you know what? The last 2 surviving get the position. Let's go."
Unfortunately, there's only 1 position available, so we're gonna have tryouts.
So to train your recruits after assembling your first squadron, they must undertake the introductory mission City Patrol. After successfully completing this mission, they may undertake training courses posted to the regiment board. Training courses will provide increases to the squadron's overall physical, mental, and tactical abilities. The focus on which attribute is improved varies from course to course, and you are free to concentrate on areas in which you wish your squadron to excel.
Nate, is this Pokemon?
No.
What?
Are we collecting and training Pokemon? Is that what's going on here?
No.
No? Are you sure?
At least this is more in depth than retainers are.
Each training course takes 1 hour to complete. When a training course is complete, all recruits present in the barracks will receive experience points, and the squadron's overall attributes will increase. To deploy your squadrons, when your squadron is amply prepared, speak with the squadron sergeant to deploy them on a mission. Be advised that deploying your squadron requires an expenditure of company seals, with costs increasing as missions difficulty increases.
So make sure you have them order resources.
Furthermore, each mission has a minimum level requirement. At least 1 member of the squadron must meet this level requirement to proceed. Missions will require 18 hours Earth time to complete. The time remaining until a mission is completed can be viewed by opening the timers interface located in the duty main menu. When a squadron returns from mission, you can speak with the squadron sergeant to review a mission debriefing outlining squadron performance. If the mission is a success, squadron members will receive experience points based on the mission's difficulty. There's also a chance squadron members will exhibit a preference for a certain squadron composition. This is known as squadron chemistry. And
no fraternization within the squadron.
AKA, these two people are banging and these two people hate each other.
And it can affect the outcome of missions by improving attributes or increasing their experience earned.
Well, it's his penis and he can do whatever he wants with it.
If the mission ends in failure, squadron members will receive half the basic reward of experience points.
And you get twice as much experience. You learn more from failing.
You know,
actually, that's.
I was planning on having an entire squadron of chicks, but you know what happens when you throw too many girls into a room together? It's a nightmare.
I'm gonna start hating each other.
And they'll talk about you.
True.
And they'll never actually complete anything.
You don't have to tell me that's true, Nika. I know it's true.
All right. So, Kahlo, do you want to talk about housing here?
Housing. So we're finally getting our apartments.
Hooray, pores!
Wait, was that sarcasm?
Way to go!
They're finally turning auto demolition back on.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize it was turned off.
Yeah, it's been off since like the holiday season, right?
Yeah, it's been off for a while.
The interior, flooring, and ceiling lights of the apartments can all be customized in the same way as the estate halls. However, you cannot enable estate sharing with apartments. Further,
that bothers me.
Ha pores.
Further, they are also not subject to the auto demolition. So,
enjoy your welfare rooms.
Within the mist, you have
your own house in Nero.
No, I have a company house.
That is
I'm sitting in our house.
It's a combination of everyone's effort. That wasn't your purchase. This apartment is for one person.
I'm sorry. A combination of everyone's effort. Do you remember how much you donated?
I did $1 mil.
$1 mil.
$1 mil.
Wow. Out of like 100.
Wow.
$1 mil.
I contributed.
Here's the thing, though. It still says Limit Break Radio on the front.
It
should be Limit Break Radio, except Nika, in parentheses.
That can be arranged.
I'm going to buy an apartment, and none of you guys are welcome.
No femros.
No one wants to
fine. Who wants to go to your fucking apartment?
No one wants to go to your rent-controlled property, okay? No one cares. Good job. I hope decorate it with a really fancy aquarium. Still, no one will give a fuck.
Oh my gosh! Can we bring back the Gill casinos from 11 and just shout them outside apartments? Make it the biggest slum we can.
Nika's totally gonna throw like a little dinner party, and like Ryuichi's gonna show up. That's it.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Woof.
Ooh. Ow.
So I like how on the map too, the apartments are just way over to the side there, away from all of like the houses.
Yeah. There's a reason. Put the poor people in a section for themselves.
The mountains in the valley. Yeah.
Go
It's literally across the bridge. Go to the fucking lavender beds.
The slums of Topmast.
The other two are open.
Then at the lavender beds we had the ghetto of Lily Hills. And at the goblet we had the Sultana's breath. Yeah.
Enjoy your projects.
There you go. The projects of the Sultana's breath. An apartment building is available in every ward in the 3 residential districts, with a second apartment building available in each subdivision. Each apartment building also contains a lobby where players can engage in fights. They can sell drugs to each other, exchange food stamps.
Hey, you know what they should do? This is where they should put NPCs to distribute welfare tome gear.
Oh no! I just realized that my house on Balmung is right down the street from the Sultana's.
Oh, you know what?
We're literally the next house down. We're gonna have to move.
Yeah, that just drove your property value down by a lot.
We're not gonna be able to sell that for $1 million gil.
Nope.
Oh, that's terrible.
Nope. Yeah, suddenly you're going to see that all of the plots around that are like right next to the apartments, the projects, they're all going to start becoming abandoned. Like, it's good that
brick houses.
Yeah, right. Like
the windows are all boarded up suddenly.
Overgrown front lawns.
It's a good place for the Fremros to congregate.
Damn it.
Don't worry, guys. Our free company house is almost as far away as you can possibly be from the apartments.
Yeah. There's a we knew. The Square Enix told us.
In fact, I bet we could also set up a gate guard just in case.
That's probably a good idea.
Oh my god, we are a gated community now.
Yeah. Okay. Purchasing an apartment. Oh, here it comes. Before purchasing an apartment, you must attain level 50 with at least one class.
Oh, wow.
Furthermore, you must have attained the rank of second lieutenant. And then each apartment building can house up to 90 tenants, with each room costing 500,000 gil. That is $500,000. And players are allowed one apartment per character. It is possible to own both an estate and an apartment.
Yeah, for when you get in a fight with your virtual wife and you have to go sleep in the apartment for the weekend.
Players can place up to 50 furnishings in an apartment. As with free company and personal estates, players are able to use all housing-specific features such as flower pots, the orchestrion, the armoire, the crystal bell, summoning bells, and the employ of NPCs.
Except you won't have any room to put all that stuff in there with your 50 furnishings.
But you're going to employ NPCs in your apartment? I feel like...
You don't have the money to employ anyone.
No, I just feel like if you're going to... I understand having, like, servants in a mansion, but if you're like...
Nika, look, if you're going to, like, abuse the poor and extort them, you're not going to do it yourself.
Come on, I'm just thinking
you're going to
about
hire drug dealers for yourself to go there and sell things.
They're going to be cramming 12 people into those apartments anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yes. I don't know, just think about... I just can't imagine, like, actually having employees in, like, a 2-room apartment. I just don't see
Well, they're
that.
12-room apartments. That's where you're mistaken.
Now, hang on. Can we just clarify something? If we're creating FF14 canon here, which we are, I'm not disputing that. But if we're creating FF14 canon here, why don't we go back and just say the Sultana's Breath, in comparison, that's like condos. Like, that's where, if you're gonna buy, that's the good place to buy.
Yeah,
right.
It's named after the Sultana.
That's right.
It's in the windmill.
We've got.
Yeah, the windmill's pretty sweet.
Exactly.
Oh, good. My property values won't be so destroyed.
That's right. Yes. So
now the
we
Lily
go.
Beds, on the other hand, like that seems to me like it's sort of like a middle class brothel.
What?
I don't know. That place looks like it was built on the cheap. That place is coming down on the first stiff breeze.
They're using the wall, the cliff sides as part of the walls.
So it's not coming down. That's a pretty stable fortress. You know, when the housing gets invaded by the Garleans, the people in the apartments will be safe in the hill, and everyone else will be dead.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, one dropped match, and that place is coming down.
Well, think about it during rainstorms. That's going to cause mudslides. You're going to have dirt and grime and all kinds of awful stuff coming into your walls.
that's going to be.
Imagine the wood swell. Like, it's going to swell up against those rocks and break.
And
Carbon
then
monoxide warning.
Well, hey, and then the top mast, that's like trailer park. That's it.
At least it's made of concrete.
I mean,
imagine walking into the office. There's the single
Look how
desk.
fancy. It's made of like white marble. How is that?
Yeah,
It's white now.
Yeah.
You think you're going to maintain that? Come on.
In 5 years, that is just going to be like stained lime green.
I lived in an apartment complex that was kind of like that, where you pulled up and you were like, oh, this is kind of nice, and you walked inside and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, we got to keep the Fenros in there some way.
That's right.
The gate's keeping people in.
That's right.
No, usually gated communities are much safer.
For the people outside.
Yes, we're safe from them. Each apartment building also includes a chocobo stable, which is shared by all tenants. Here, players can train their chocobos, change their color, and also assist in training other tenants' chocobos. So now you can have complete strangers feeding your chocobo.
Does that mean strangers can like change the color of your chocobo?
No, I don't think so.
Not the color, but they can feed them.
You can because you can train chocobos in free company stables too.
Okay.
You actually get achievements and stuff for feeding other people's chocobos.
So
and
we're
they
just
get
going to have dozens of rampant chocobos wandering around the
Feral
front
chocobo
yard.
population.
I mean,
that'll be nice for about 2 months, and then whoever manages the chocobo stables will get fired or quit,
Laid
or
off.
they'll find them smoking crack or something.
Overfeeding the chocobos, now they're obese.
Shoving chocobos everywhere.
Abusing the chocobos.
You can have people kidnapping chocobos, and suddenly a fried chocobo place opens up next door.
Oh no.
Okay, we've taken this a little far.
Okay, new furnishings has been added. All right, now this first picture, what's the furnishing? Is it the rock, the tree, or the leaves on the ground?
tree and the leaves. It's like an autumn tree with leaves that fall on the ground.
Actually, it looks like you can place leaves on the ground wherever you want.
It does look like that.
Yeah.
So
How
now we're going to
exciting.
have our...
We
Great,
can
now we
play
all
the
get to-
leaves. We're gonna rake up a pile and run and jump.
All right, Skuro, you're in charge of raking leaves.
And Calcabrina dolls, I can't wait till someone makes a room that is full of nothing but these dolls just staring into your soul.
That's going to be our stream area one day.
We absolutely need to get those dolls. Like, that is something that we need to have behind us.
Those are going in the Skuro room.
Yes.
They've also added trophies for season 1.
No, they
Lone
added
Wolf
glowing to
trophy
the
and
trophies.
oh, did they?
Yeah, they put a glow
Oh yeah,
on 'em.
graphical effects have been added.
They're
All
pretty
right,
cool.
That's
not bad.
cool. Yeah.
I mean, that way if you walk in the house, they actually stand out.
Yeah.
So the three people can look at those and be happy.
It actually draws your eye to them, yeah.
Aquariums have been added.
Look how big that aquarium is. It's so
Yep,
cool.
there are
pretty-
various sizes,
pretty
and
awesome.
you can catch fish, as we mentioned earlier, to put them in there. There's a list of which fish can be caught and put in. When preparing an aquarium for fish, players can choose the type of water to fill the tank with, as well as adding accessories for decorations.
Toilet water.
That's
Yes.
apartments only.
Turlet water, yeah. There you go.
So yeah, water accessory fish. So some of the stuff that can be put in there: copperfish, tricolored carp, dark bass, blah 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 blah. blah.
But not chubs.
No chubs.
Why can't I
Unless
put my chub in there?
Unless chubs are under the sea
For
water.
blatantly obvious reasons, I think.
That's...
Oh,
Just that's
Juxta.
abusing animals, that's
Juxta,
why.
you only requested a large aquarium. There's an extra large aquarium.
Oh no! I didn't even
Send your
realize
large
it.
aquariums to
Large,
Juxta.
extra large.
There's actually a pretty big jump too. 4 fish in the large, 7 fish in the extra large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What's the
humongous.
purpose behind limiting to 1 though? Is it just to control the market or what?
I think they just don't want like everyone's house to be completely filled with
Well, who
aquariums.
cares? That's not up to them.
It's not up to them.
Clearly
If I
is.
want 5
Fair point.
aquariums because I like fish, then god damn it, give me 5 aquariums.
I wonder if it's a
projects have
processing
standards,
thing. Is it a
Nika.
processing thing where they like don't want to have to control the
PS4
fish
limitations.
moving around?
What we need, we should be able to make the walls in our room aquarium walls. That's
Yeah.
what we should be able to do.
That would be awesome.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
That would be awesome.
Floor and ceiling too. Just live in an aquarium. New orchestrion roles have been added. A tooltip has been added to display the title of songs that appear cut off. A playlist function has been added to the orchestrion. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got. Playback modes. There's play all. There's shuffle. There's repeat. So okay, we now have our media player in the game.
Yep.
The title of the songs you have yet to acquire will now be displayed in the orchestrion list. That's cool.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness for my OCD.
I would like a small request. This was something that was in... I've seen this in other MMO games, but I mean, like, they could literally take the UI that they've built for the orchestrion playlist and put like an MP3 an in-client MP3 player using the exact same menu.
That'd be super cool.
That would be awesome. I would be totally into that. But be one less thing that I have to run.
But resources
out of.
But that would be like fourth wall breaking.
Wait, well,
What
it wouldn't be able to be an MP3 player. It would have to be like a crystal that would echo with the sounds of the music.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of?
I hate all of you.
What kind of in-lore reasons would there be for your character to be listening to What Does the Fox Say?
Oh, no. It's a link shell. A link shell that you can hook up to, like, it's not a radio station. It's like a person on the other end.
Let's just spend 3 months developing this concept instead of anything worthwhile playing.
I am totally down though.
You know, they probably would, though.
I know.
Who let the rose out? Who?
What?
Who let the rose out?
Hey, the Mikote are the animals.
Seriously, who let them out of their fucking gate? Put them back in their gated community.
Papa's not doing his job as gate guard.
At least use them to rake up all these damn leaves.
I like playing in leaves. Thank you.
A list of furnishings that previously would be destroyed when removed no longer do. So thanks, Square Enix. That was always cool.
Good tech.
Yeah, like that was the stupidest thing. Like you move something, you're like, nope, it's gone. Sorry.
Yeah, that was pretty frustrating.
Some new shit has been added to flower pots and seeds that nobody cares about. You can now place materia melders in your estate. That's actually kind of cool.
Yay.
Level 6 ethereal wheel stand has been added.
A compact
one.
Oh.
That's smaller.
Big giant ass one that takes up so much space. Now you have like a little cabinet
for the projects.
I forget what this does. What does that do again?
It lets you get bigger buffs that you can only get through the wheel.
Bonuses to your company buffs.
Oh, okay.
And the most important thing.
Oh, jeez. Juxta, I swear to God, if I ever log on and see this.
Are you not excited about
I will walk into your room and I will choke you to death.
Kyle, I know you haven't been here in a bit, but last week we covered this.
Yeah, we talked about
And
this.
I'm sorry to tell you that he has full on every intention of having this be
I
what our
think
house
we need
looks
to
like.
kick him from the free
I was
company.
going to say, just remember, I'm actually the one that is free company leader. I
Yeah.
can take all of those permissions away from him.
You're going to have to, because otherwise we're going to have a Choco house.
Yeah.
Chocobo house, Chocobo cottage wall, Chocobo mansion wall. This is fucking ridiculous.
I'm on your side. I'm down.
No.
Are you on my side, Nika?
No.
Well, congratulations. Nika doesn't have any permissions either because she's not even in the fucking free company.
I am, and my alt.
You're fucking alt. Get out of here.
The only thing I want of those is the little archway over the way in. That I don't mind. The
can
rest
do
of it's
that.
ridiculous.
It's wonderful.
The archway is the only okay thing, but the gigantic chocobo coming out of the top.
It looks like some Chuck E. Cheese ripoff. Come to Chocobo Cheese.
5 nights at free companies.
And just look out over the world on top of a chocobo head.
No, that you know what that is? That's the fried chocobo stand. That's what it is. That makes
my
sense.
God. You're right. In the city that I live in, we have a place called Atomic Chicken that is literally just a building with a humongous plaster chicken sitting on top of it.
So that's going to go up right next to the top mast for the row community. The Triple Triad Battle Hall has been added.
This is kind of cool.
Is it? Is it?
You know,
Yes, idiot.
People do actually play Triple Triad, and for the tournaments, this might actually be used.
Okay.
But if you want to cheese your score, you're still going to play against people who just let you win. So
Yeah, but I mean, it is cool if you want to. There are a lot of people that look for people to play. Like I've actually spent time saying, "Who wants to play with me?" And like nobody does. So there are like people
that actually has nothing to do with Triple Triad and everything to do with you
and where you live.
What?
In the top mast.
Where I live. I don't live anywhere.
Exactly. She's homeless.
I know. Yeah.
That's why you're getting apartments.
I live with Sarah in his house in the Goblet. Estate.
Torkoal rallied asking in the chat, juxtapositions LBR for school for ephemeros who can't read good. I want to learn how to do other things good too.
They've added some Triple Triad cards.
LBR hype, much less than 3.
Thank you, Chili.
Much less than. So
I was
like
going to say the hype is much less than 3. There's no hype.
That's a heart. That's an emoji. Heart.
We
you
know.
dumb. Okay. All right.
They've started to include the Scion's new looks in the cards. We have alternate look Ishtola and Thancred there. It's kind of cool, I guess.
Is that a completely separate card, or
yeah?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Those are new cards.
Yep.
They have new clothes.
Oh, so it's like a second edition.
Yeah,
version.
there you go.
Okay, all right.
They have a different subtitle.
Oh god, beta's coming out. Everyone, hang on to your alpha versions. They're gonna be worth tons of money.
New cards have been added to the Bronze Triad card packs. The Moogle card and Moglin card are now classified as Beastman type, and there have been new NPCs added to play. And look, I'm gonna mention this next part just so I can rage about something. So, all right. Players can now register to play Lords of Verminion via the Duty Finder.
Yes.
Right? But you can actually specifically queue for Lords of Verminion player battles role play.
Yes.
Like, there are people who role play out their Lords of Verminion?
No.
Where does it say that?
Challenge.
Lords of Verminion
LOVM player battles.
RP and RP. What?
Oh my god. All right.
I love you.
I don't know how prominent that is. I have a character on I have a character on Balmung, and I've never seen this.
I was gonna say, you know what that is? That there is like the sub area. That is where all the ERPing goes on. Never queue for that. That is your slut roulette right there, guys.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
I love the smell of queef.
Okay, the chat is correcting us. It's ranked points and non-ranked points.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank God.
Aniro, you can come back. Aniro just walked into his room, probably to commit suicide. Papa, you better go and stop him. Hurry before he drinks the bleach.
Beaten off. I don't want to walk in on that.
Why would he go in his room to beat off to role-playing Lords of Verminion?
Yeah, he does that in here.
It's right in that chair over there.
I have never been more disappointed.
Like, is that you have to be not in a party to do the ranked one? That makes sense.
Oh, it's ranked points and not ranked. That's so much better.
It's just like the glory hole of RP.
I mean, people even in the chat, they're like, "I'm an RPer," and even that scared me.
It's like, okay, that's still garbage, but it's so much better.
Why do we need a ranking system for Lords of Verminion?
Yeah, now we can find out who's ranked first and who's ranked second.
Tournament. So that means you can play and play against people just to practice without getting the ranks for the tournaments.
It's terrible.
We found out that RP means ranked points, not
Oh,
role
thank
play.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ranked and unranked.
Okay.
It's still garbage, but significantly less.
Yeah. Players may now purchase 3 jumbo Cactpot tickets per week, so your chances just tripled to win nothing.
I can lose 3 times as much every week.
I can forget to purchase 3 things every week. All right, cool.
A summoning bell has been placed next to the gold saucer Aetherite and the race counter at the Chocobo Square.
Okay.
New prizes are also available for purchase using MGP.
What do you guys think of this Chocobo barding? It looks...
I'm trying to figure out its like
that a
inspiration.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
it's
definitely a bonnet.
It's like the Wild West.
It's like, it is like the Wild West. You're right.
Yeah.
Why is it in the snow?
I kind of like everything but the bonnet. The bonnet looks stupid.
Actually, I like the bonnet. I don't understand the shirt.
It's a female chocobo, you ass.
Hey!
Females wear the bonnet.
Excuse me. Are you assuming that Chocobo's gender?
Yeah, what if you wanted to wear it?
It's
You know what? You know what? No. You know what I just realized? That looks vaguely Native American. That is culturally offensive. Square Enix, you need to take this barding out of the game, assholes.
Native American.
Pilgrim Chocobo.
No, I know.
Kind of transphobic.
It looks more
Bigoted
pilgrim.
hate speech isn't gonna fly here, bro.
I know. It's just being a dick.
Wondrous Tails has been added.
Oh,
and this is
good.
tails as in like the tail of an animal.
Actually, this sounds really interesting once I actually
Yeah, when I read about it, it wasn't so bad.
Chloe Aliapo fears her stories are not quite what they used to be, as they no longer seem to lift the spirits of her troubled friend.
Oh, no.
Fuck yourself, Chloe.
her troubled friend is that one Mikote child who's always crying.
You know what? Maybe if she'd put out a little bit, take up Chloe's journal, the Wondrous
She's
Tales.
like 13 at the most.
Hey, we have no idea how Mikote's age.
This is Kahlo. This is Kahlo.
Oh, shut
That's
up.
fair enough.
It's Kahlo.
I was gonna say, is Chloe your pen name, Kahlo? Taking
And
up your stories?
fill it with pages of your own adventures that she might be inspired to write new stories of her own.
She wants to plagiarize us.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it's called inspiration.
One of the many people that want to plagiarize us.
I see what you did there.
So you go and you talk to her, you get your journal, and apparently completing the objectives within your journal, so it's fucking books again.
But it's different. Okay, so if you look at the book, there's 16 objectives, and at random you'll get 9 seals out of the 16. And depending on where they land in the book, if it's like slot machines, if you get them in a row, then you get prizes.
A slot machine?
What are the prizes though?
Okay, so if you get 9 for all 9 seals, you get tomes. For 1 seal, you get like tome and some kind of ore or some kind of dark
elegant
matter.
tin piece.
And if you get 2 lines in a row, you get a minion, like the new Thancred minion it looks like, and 3 lines is gear. If you get 3 lines in a row, that's gear.
What
and
kind of gear though?
I don't know. There's a green piece of gear.
Crafted
and a blue
250
piece of
gear.
There's also a blue piece of gear.
That has up to 2 to 5 materia slots on it.
And
All right, maybe. I'm just saying.
Serious?
The cool thing is too is that if you take new people in with you, you get a special kind of like seal for helping new people.
Right.
With the actual fuck Scoro was banned, it made me happy. Why isn't Scoro banned anymore?
We had to hire him on as our fall seasonal intern. It turned to fall.
Because we don't want to do any more work.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so you get tokens for helping new people, and with those new people tokens, you can actually shuffle around the seals and try to make them in a row, or you can take one objective that's maybe like you didn't get a seal for, but it would complete your row, and you can make it undone so you can try it again and try to get the seal for it.
Yep.
All right,
Except the seals are random.
This sounds kind of cool, but again, it's gonna come down to what rewards are they actually
I mean, it looks
giving us
cool. If you
for
look
them?
at it, it looks like you get a minion, you get gear. So if the gear is good,
I mean, look, that 500 tomes for 9 seals, that's pretty good. All right. Whatever the gear is, it just depends. We're gonna have to wait and see. But all right, in concept, sure, I like the idea.
Yeah, I mean it's a bonus for doing stuff that you wouldn't normally do.
Yep, and it's a bonus for helping new people because you actually get to shuffle around the seals and try to get better.
Yeah, and you get rewards that
helping new people.
Right, you get a reward you can't get otherwise for helping newbies.
Yep.
This is kind of dumb how it like you only get like the 1 reward. So if you get 2 lines, you don't get the 1 line and 9 seals.
Yeah, you don't get all of them.
That's kind of stupid. What if I want the one above it? What if I want the one above it?
Why would you want that?
No, because the minion is the.
What if I already have the minion?
Then you can.
We don't know that the rewards are the same every week.
Well, and you can get the one above it by doing less work.
Yeah, less work the next time.
There you go.
Added a few new objectives, one of which actually seems kind of big and broken. Win 3 triple triad matches in the battle hall and you get 3,000 MGP. That's a pretty good little boost there.
Yeah, you get a lot of MGP just for playing triple triad.
I know.
It's pretty awesome, just in general already.
Certain foods and medicines can be used while riding a mount. New hairstyles have been added.
I hear that these hairstyles are all going to be both gendered. Do we know if that's true?
Based on their appearance, I would guess probably, yeah.
Yeah,
they look like they'll be both.
I think they could, swing both ways.
I'd like to see Nika sporting that mullet there, the third one.
I want to see what that would look like.
Nero, if you do not get that mullet, then your love of getting Metal Gear Solid is gone.
I might.
You'd have to actually take your face off, though.
It is a little bit like the thing is though is it's
like
not
Nicolas Cage.
It's not quite. It's not quite a genuine.
It was actually pretty good for you. I'm gonna give you props for that one.
It's not quite. It's not quite a genuine mullet. I mean, it is a mullet, but it's also got that like hipster shaved side to the thing
it's
to
almost like an afro without it being spiked up. Not an afro, mohawk without it being spiked up.
So it's like a faux hawk mullet, a faux hawk.
Like the fact that it kind of looks like an unspiked mohawk is kind of why I like it. Like I actually, that's one of the first hairstyles that they've added where I was like, I may have to play around with that.
Is the first one, doesn't that look like Noctis's hair? Or am I making that up?
No, that sort of, well, I mean, it looks very FF15-ish overall. Like
generic anime hair number 75.
Actually, yeah, let's just be on it. I mean, like, if you're talking about Noctis's hair, you are talking about generic anime hair number 75. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Some new emotes. Looks like it's one of them, like, praying or begging.
That's face palming.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's for when Skuro's around.
Oh, good.
No, that second one, he's like crying into his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's face palm.
That's like a double face palm.
/ Skuro.
Yes, let's get him added as an emote. That would be great.
/ Skuro, you just cut your wrist open.
Deletes all your character data.
Skuro pops up and you cut him.
You go to the Garlean space station.
The Doze emote can now be used to sleep on furniture in the following locations: inns, beds, and Costa del Sol beach pits.
Okay.
I'm totally stoked for that. That's gonna be like my new idle place when I'm not around. I'm just gonna go lay on the beds.
Nobody wants
all
to
the
see
time.
that. Please make sure you're still wearing full armor.
Fuck that.
We just see Nika dozing off on the porch of the apartment complex.
Yeah, man.
Okay, the pray emote can now be used when sitting on the ground, sitting in chairs, and when riding mounts. And I love that they then also have to say, but no change has been made to it while you're standing. That remains the same.
Good to know.
And it looks
was
cool
nervous.
though, actually, like that you can do it on a mount. I don't know. I think it's a nice change.
Apparently, the male Highlanders pose emote has changed.
Because everybody's getting their Flex Hildebrand emote.
Yeah,
so
the original
that's what
pose emote motion will now be used with the new Flex emote, which can be used by all races.
But they didn't show us what the new Highlander pose is going to look like. It's a mystery.
Using the Huzzah, Battle Stance, or Victory emotes while your weapon is drawn will automatically sheath your weapon when the emote animation ends.
Great.
New structures have been added to Idleshire. This is always my favorite part of updates.
It is. Yeah. I can't wait to just kind of like run around for a little bit.
Yep.
As the NPCs have been changed.
As a result, Sabina, Hasmina, Bertana, and Rowena have all changed where they are going.
Just by the way, in the screenshot that they provided, it looks like a lot of the internal structures for Idleshire have been finished.
Yeah, there's like roofs and stuff now.
Yeah, the wall looks pretty complete.
Yeah, you can still see like the scaffolding like way in the back there, so it looks like maybe that back corner is still under construction, but everything else appears done.
Yeah. Exciting.
I wish they'd get rid of all that goblin shit though. You know what? All of this stuff has gone on, and the Aetherite is still just on a wooden platform made out of pallets.
It's broken. Can't they fix it somehow?
Is it broken?
Yeah, it's cut off. It's chopped in half. Look at it.
No, there's been all kinds of different ones. Not necessarily all of them are all like super pointy on the top and the bottom. I mean,
but this
think
one
of
was
the Vanu ones. Those are just like fat crystals.
These are ruins that the goblins have started to rebuild on. It's definitely broken.
It still fucking works. What more do you want?
For now.
Yeah,
but now we're going to have all these Femros coming and using them all the time.
It gets all the energy drained from so many people teleporting here, they need to fix it.
That's why we keep them behind the gates.
Yeah, I got news for you. I've been on Sargatanas. It ain't getting drained from too many people showing up in Idleshire. There is no concern of that.
Aren't there other Aetherites that look similar to that? I thought there was.
I
or
thought
is that
there
unique?
were too.
In the dragon areas and stuff in Heaven's Ward, I think there are.
Yeah,
I think it's just based on like some locations. I think the ones in
No, I think it's because this entire area has been ravaged and beaten up.
No. The Charlayans, they created aetherites in that one structure that's taken over by the goblins in the hinterlands. You can actually see where they're manufacturing the aetherites. So what I think was that this is probably a
more effective,
an earlier version of it, a less refined version, but still very functional.
I think what it is, I think it's a more efficient version because I think they were tolling out these giant crystals, and some guys like, why don't we just cut them in half and then we'll have twice as many aetherites?
You're just making this shit up.
Because now we have half as much efficiency.
No, I mean, I guess if it's a rough edge before they had all the tools to create the beautiful, sleek ones of the other lands.
I think that it was an earlier design and that the technology sort of penetrated out from the hinterlands.
We're due for an upgrade then, Rowena. Stop building your mansion and give us a decent aetherite.
All right, I think that we should have the girl read some now. So, Callie?
All right. So we got some adjustments to the battle system. Starting off with Paladin Sword Oaths. Potency has been changed.
I want to read this one. Paladin's getting a Sword Oath change. Yeah. You're getting potency increase from 50 to 75. Although I don't quite understand what weapon delay will now affect damage output, like only for Paladins or for everybody?
No, for Sword Oath. Before you got...
Did it not affect it at all before?
I guess not. Maybe before it must have just been the straight 50 potency no matter what.
Yeah.
The base potency is now 75, but your weapon delay will affect it. So a longer weapon delay probably means that
more damage.
And
if you have a shorter weapon delay, then you get less damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Can I read Dark Knight or do you want to keep going?
No, you can, guys. I want to read Paladin.
Well, hold on. Anir, did you want to read Dark Knight?
No, I don't, because it's PvP changes and nobody gives a shit.
Unleash now binds enemy for 6 seconds in PvP areas. Auto attack will stop when this action is used.
That's actually kind of cool.
I guess.
Machinist Reload.
You're doing
now,
PvP.
Reload now remains in effect until all ammunition is used.
That's actually an awesome change.
That is
Machinist.
actually a pretty good change.
Because, the other, other jobs,
Skrull
you can just
happy.
give stacks and they stay. But for this one, it's like, nope, you only have 30 seconds to use all 5 of your ammo. Too bad if it wears off.
Because that makes sense conceptually. Oh, I reloaded my gun.
Your gun and you don't use it. It just falls out.
Well, if you're using Aether bullets, maybe after 30 seconds, they become less effective.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Out of your gun.
Black Mage's Blizzard heavy duration has been reduced from 12 to 8 seconds in PvP. Sleep now affects only the selected target in PvP areas. Sleep duration has been reduced from 12 to 8 seconds.
That was how we would cheese the 4-on-4 battles, though. You just have a Black Mage sleep everyone over and over, and you just beat them down.
They don't want you to do that.
Yeah, I think hence the changes.
Fun.
Freeze bind duration has been reduced from 12 to 8 seconds. Conjurer / White Mage Stone's heavy duration has also been brought down from 12 to 8 seconds.
You know,
EP only though.
You know, if this realm or if this reality was like D&D, Nika wouldn't be allowed to be a paladin.
Why?
Because she is chaotic evil.
Well, yeah, with things like what you just said. Oh, we can't just sleep the whole group and beat them down one at a time without them waking up at all. Darn! Your god would totally just show up and be like, all right, you know what? No. You're no longer a paladin. I'm taking my blessing away. You're just a person now.
I can't remember which ones I normally get when I take those D&D quizzes. But I never get like chaotic good or anything like that. No way.
No, chaotic evil.
The big change, I think, is astrologen.
We could probably just skip this part.
Yeah, I don't think this is important at all.
Nobody cares about this.
It's a huge buff.
They're getting everything changed.
It's actually going to be good now.
So, Nocturnal Sect has increased healing magic potency from 5 to 10%. Aspected Benefic, amount of damage nullified by the barrier from Nocturnal Sect has been increased from 130% of HP restored to 170% of HP restored. The potency of the magic barrier in PvP areas has been changed to 65% of HP restored. Aspected Helios, amount of damage nullified by the barrier from Nocturnal Sect has been increased from 120 to 150%. Enhanced Benefic, the effect has been changed to grant a 15% change that your next Benefic 2 will be a critical heal.
Jesus.
Yeah. Stella's heavy duration has been reduced from 12 to 8 seconds in PvP areas. Redraw's recast time has been reduced from 60 to 30 seconds.
That's halved.
Mm-hmm. Draw's effect duration has been increased from 15 to 30 seconds. Royal Road, the range of the area affected by Ewer and Spire has been extended from 15 to 20 yalms. Yalms. The balance,
right.
Yeah, right. The balance, the increased damage effect on single target has been changed from 10 to 20%, and the increased damage effect on a group has been changed from 5 to 10%.
Not in PvP.
For the bowl, damage reduction on a single target has been increased from 10 to 20%, and damage reduction on a group has been increased from 5 to 10%. Does not apply in PvP. And lastly, Celestial Opposition, extended duration of effects cast by self and party members has been increased from 5 to 10 seconds.
That's like putting an entire, like using the bowl now is like putting Rampart on someone.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That is buffs all around for Astrologian.
Yeah, that is pretty critical. Holy shit. Yeah.
This is bullshit.
A lot
of people might play them again.
Where's my white mage buff, man?
Don't you play Astrologian?
No, I don't play Astrologian.
I thought you had an Astrologian.
I do, but I don't play it. I play white mage.
Well, now you're going to have to play Astrologian.
No, I'm not playing Astrologian.
You love card games, though.
White mage power, okay?
They have cards.
Yeah, they have cards. You can live your Yu-Gi-Oh fantasy.
You can play on motorcycles.
Oh my god, and now you can go to the Wolves Den and yell, "It's time to duel."
That's right.
You know what?
Stop.
And then you can go to the Triple Triad Battle Arena.
Just to get back at them now, you should play Astrologian and have RP macros on everything that is Yu-Gi-Oh based.
Oh my god.
I love RPing. You know there's an RP flag in this thing?
Yeah. There is.
So that people know you're RPing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's kind of like back in the day when they used to have to sequester off lepers. This is FF's version of that.
So we know who to hate automatically.
Yeah, you won't even have to talk to him.
Why do you hate me, Daddy?
Did I make the joke? Did I make the joke? Could the icon be a gold star? Is that possible?
You made that joke.
I think I did.
You sure did.
I'm just gonna double down on that one.
Yeah.
Because we've already been pretty terrible. Let's just go even more.
Boy, have we.
Yeah.
Players revived using the following limit break actions will no longer be inflicted with weakness, and furthermore, players already suffering from weakness will be cured of the status effect. So
That's
Pulse of Life,
great.
Angel Feathers, and Astral
Yeah,
Stasis.
they're level 3 limit breaks.
That's
regulars.
great.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So no more level 3 limit break. We're all alive and we're dead again.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
it really.
And it takes weakness off if you're already up and weakened.
I think that's probably the bigger change right there. Like that, I think is huge. That it will erase any existing weakness.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that really does give you like an entirely
like a second chance.
Yeah, it really is a second chance. Yeah. That just seems like a big change.
Mm-hmm. Following PvP actions have been adjusted. Weapon Throw, Enhanced Weapon Throw 2 effect duration increased has been reduced from 9 to 8 seconds. And for Black Mage Nightwing's effect duration has been reduced from 8 to 6 seconds. Enhanced Nightwing 2 effect duration increase has been reduced from 12 to 8 seconds.
Okay.
Woot. The time required to switch PvP presets has been reduced. Furthermore, the progress that displayed when switching presets has been removed. And I think that's all our PvP stuff, thank goodness.
All right. Well, Nika, how about you tell us about the new dungeons that have been added?
Well, wait, we forgot to talk about how auto attack will now attack no matter which way you're facing.
Oh, well, there's that. Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty big, right?
No, it definitely is. It depends on what you're doing. Like for a controller player, that's definitely awesome because I can tell you that like if I have to strafe or move to a side, I often lose an auto attack or two when I'm running. But I know that some people are complaining about now like the moves where you have to the moves where you have to face away from the target or something like. Or if you just have to completely stop moving, like for Fatale, whatever that one was.
It's all bad.
No, what's good about this is now you can AFK and not have to worry about if something goes behind you, they'll know. You're still auto-attacking, you're fine.
And you still look like just as much of an asshole.
Jesus, did you even try?
Well, we'll have to see how that plays out, but I mean, I think it's a good change, but we'll see. All right. New dungeons have been added. We have Zelfatol, which we know is the Ixali, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, you have to be level 60. You have to be item level 210 or above to enter. 4 players, of course, 90 minutes. Let's see. It's from 4 Towns Manor.
It's
very
it's very grayscale. Boy, is it. There's not a ton of color going on in that picture.
Well, I mean, it's a mountainy area.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose.
I don't know. I'm excited to see what is in Zelfatol, but again, I'm gonna go back to the same criticism that I had before, and that's, like, I feel like they're including a huge region in just simply an instanced area, and I feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out.
Right, but we know that this is going to be probably part of the main storyline, and that we do know that it is in between where we are and Alamigo. So I'm hoping that the storyline is like, well, let's go check this place out, and maybe we'll get kicked out at the end and be like, nope, sorry, you can't come past, or something. So that'll kind of like hold us off until the next expansion. We might actually get a Zelfatol explorable area.
Yeah, but wouldn't they name it something different other than Zelfatol? Like that?
Be like the Zelfatol entry gate.
Yeah, like it would. Yeah, like exactly. Like
lower mountain region.
Right. Yeah, but this is just Zelfatol, so I feel like it's supposed to take the entire place of the region.
I kind of like the architecture here, like these like cliffside wooden structures.
The scaffolds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for it, but you're right. Lore-wise, we'll have to see. But I just freaked out over the name of the quest for the Google Library. Let me Google that for you. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. Okay, so we also are getting the Great Google Library Hard, which I do find interesting that we have not gotten a single other Heaven's Word Hard dungeon, and they're giving us the Google Library Hard, which is the last one before 60, which is kind of cool, I guess. That they're not going back and giving us like.
Well, the
Snowy Vigil Hard.
What I'm really interested in is that this is not attached to the main storyline quest.
No,
so
this is the one separate of
The
it.
enter from Midnight Dew, that's the Rogan in Idleshire. So it's not even like from Matoya.
Right, exactly. It's very surprising because I would have figured that they would have been redirecting us back to the Great Google Library for like a story reason. Usually these quests are pretty throwaway quest lines. Like I don't know how much I expect to learn from this second foray into the Great Google Library.
I think we're still going to get a good bit of extraneous lore. It's just going to be on a different topic this time. I don't know what it'll be, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of it.
Well, I mean, again, I was really hoping that we would actually get some movement on Yuri Anjay's plotline, and we may.
I think we will. Did you notice? I don't know if you talked about when you looked at the trailer last week that when they're narrating and it says something about betrayal, it shows Yuri Anjay's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like it's going to come out of the Google
get
Library.
Something going here.
Right, like I said, we very well might get some movement on that, but I had already kind of drawn the conclusion in my head, like that's the reason why we're going to the Great Google Library, and apparently I'm wrong. So
stupid idiot.
Let's see. We're also now getting St. Mostian's Arboretum and Pharaoh Sirius Heart are being level synced to 240, so we're just stuck on those ones now. No more speed running farther than you already can. And we're getting Alexander the Creator. You have to be item level 230 to even enter, which is the normal mode. What else? The rewards are the same old. The pieces of the armor that we normally get from the chest, you get so many, turn them in, just like normal modes.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Yeah, if you did it for the last for Midas, you know what's going on.
You also get a gear from the fourth one, and after 7 gears, you get the weapon. Yada yada, same as before.
Yep.
And Savage. Actually, what I do like about this one though is that you can. For whatever reason now, that if you queue up for Savage mode as a full party, you don't have to meet the item level. Because you actually need item level 245 to enter alone through the Raid Finder. But Yoshi had said that the first 2 rounds of Savage this time around will actually be completed in the current best in slot, which is 240. So if you queue up as a full party, even though the requirement's 245, you can still enter as 240 and probably win.
Okay.
So we'll have to see how that goes.
Neat. Coolio.
Who lives, who dies, who retells your story.
Okay.
Well, that works the same way as before, too. You know, the lockouts and the yada yada.
Yeah, unlock it at the Wandering Minstrel and Mordorna.
Yerp.
Are we going to trust Juxta to read some of these?
What do you want me to read?
I don't know.
As long as it's not like, if it's just little short bursts, I think he should be okay.
You should have seen how good he did when we gave him text that already didn't make sense. He was a savant.
Yeah.
That's because it's in his native language.
You can finish the Midas stuff, though, if you want.
Alexander Midas Savage.
From there, yeah.
Yeah.
So now you can queue up for Midas in the Duty Finder. They're making it so that you can just queue into whatever one you want. There's no more lockout. And they've also gimped Cuff of the Sun a little bit. The Minder's Blast Attack no longer gives damage down or confuse. That was like the one thing that made people wipe at the beginning of that one, which is no longer in. They also used that same part for the final Alexander, where you have the blaster, and they made that the same. And in Arm of the Sun Savage, if you're in the wrong, there's the one jail that silences you. It no longer silences you, so you can use different people inside of it now. And the physical vulnerability down from the engine oil has been reduced.
Those seem like pretty significant nerfs.
A little bit. The Blaster's Mind Blast attack is kind of lame that they get rid of that, because usually if that goes off and everyone's confused and damage down, you just wipe.
Right.
Because you have to have a silence, someone on silence duty during that fight. So usually I'll silence with Spirits Within, or we have our machinist do it. And if they miss one, you'd wipe. Now you won't.
Okay.
That's a pretty significant change.
The other change isn't quite so bad.
Yeah, no longer silence in place in the jail. I guess that gives you a better, if you accidentally put the wrong person in the jail, you have more of a chance of surviving.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
All right, go ahead then, Juxta.
Weeping City of Macaque has been adjusted. Weekly restrictions from stuff has been removed. All right, new trial has been added. Containment Bay P1T6. This is the goddess fight. You're gonna get this from Ukulele. You've got to complete the previous quest, and then there's gonna be an extreme mode.
What's kind of going on? Oh, never mind. I had trouble making out the top of the head here in the screenshot.
Yeah,
and I thought that was like a line of different stuff, like Voltron-y sort of stuff.
Actually, I want to look at the gear they're wearing. That's gear from Circus Tower, but I'm pretty sure it's not the same
that is
coloration.
people. Oh my god, that is fucking people. I didn't.
Oh, you're right. That one on the left is like the green one normally, but it's orange.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting.
Let's see. The extreme mode's going to be a thing. 235 or higher for item level. Players will now receive the power of the Echo in events in certain trials. They're adding that to Final Steps of Faith and Nidhogg's Raid.
50%.
That's just the easy mode. The Nidhogg's Raid is the hard mode, and that's 25%.
That's standard. Okay,
that's normal. Action recast timers will be reset when everyone wipes.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for this.
I think everyone lost their mind over this.
Yeah,
yes. No, this should have been in the game from the beginning. It's such a waste of time when you only have so many hours to raid, and you wipe, and you're like, oh, I gotta wait 3 minutes for my blood for blood. And we're like, well, fuck.
Well, just don't.
You're just sitting there doing nothing.
How about you just don't wipe?
Yeah, don't die.
Okay,
yes.
yes.
Be good.
Just know the fight from the moment you walk in.
That's right.
That's correct.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
the
Juxta was
expectation,
going to say,
right?
why don't you just not raid? Well, that solves it.
There you go. Done.
Daddy.
Stop that.
When accessing shortcuts or returning from being incapacitated after an instance is completed, players will be moved to the exit in the following duties, basically everywhere.
Okay.
Including the Aquapolis.
Oh, thank goodness.
Let's see. Changes to Elegant Tombstones. Elegant Tombstones of Scripture have been added, so now when people are talking about scripts, you can be even more confused.
I didn't even think of that.
Actually, that's a good point.
Or if people start mentioning the TOS, you can be more confused.
Great. Let's see, and they're removing law. You know how this shit goes.
Yeah, the cycle goes on.
This is normal.
I had people saying they thought that poetics are going away, but I don't think they'll ever get rid of poetics, because that's what you can get at 50, and then they're just going to start getting rid of the ones at 60. And I assume that the next time the level increases, like if Scripture is the last one, that will stay forever as 60, and then the next one will.
Right.
I'm assuming.
Duty Finder changes. Let's see. The penalty count for abandoning duties will now be shared in PvP and PvE.
Ouch.
So suck it, assholes. Let's see. Withdrawing from any duty or PvP match a certain number of times will result in penalty preventing the use of all Duty Finder and Raid Finder. This includes the use of Duty Finder to access Triple Triad, Battle Hall, and Lord of Verminion. So no trolling the diehard Lord of Verminion players.
Yeah, well, I've noticed that before too. When I had a lockout once, it's like, oh, I can still keep for P. That's cool. At least I can do something.
Not anymore. Dick.
Nope.
Let's see. No longer required to adhere to average item level requirements when registering as a full party. Display window of duty status has been adjusted. Let's see.
But now more people can cheese though. Like, people are like, okay, you must be item level 90 to come do this X primal with me, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to put on a ring that's not the right job just so I can cheese the item level. Now you can just say, yeah, sure, I'm item level 90.
Well, yeah, if you're in a group of 4 people, it's all your friends, so...
No, but I mean, like, if you're doing a party finder for an X primal or something, people used to just put on the wrong gear to try and get in and be like, yeah, see, my item level's high enough. But now they can just get in and nobody will know. So it's getting bad, I suppose.
Duty Roulette Expert, and we got Zelfto and Great Gooba Library instead of the old ones, and Sorkai and Hullbreaker have been moved to level 60 dungeons like normal. Yeah.
It's all the tomes.
This is all the this is shit that you all know.
Quality of life change though. If you are queuing for multiple dungeons at once, it'll show up under the Duty Finder list like all at the same time, so you can see which ones you're queuing for.
Great.
Which is good because sometimes like you might have one still clicked on from before, you didn't realize it, and you like queue up and then you get the wrong one.
That was already there. I thought that was already.
No, it just says registering for duty. It doesn't tell you which ones.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't look like the next major changes until
Palace of the Dead.
Yeah, the Palace of the Dead stuff.
Yeah,
and actually, that looks like it's just the tomestones being changed again.
No, there was something else for Palace of the Dead too.
The accursed horde has been added.
Yes,
while exploring the Palace of the Dead, players will, on occasion, discover hidden treasure known as the accursed horde. Upon saving progress and exiting the Palace of the Dead, players can take this treasure to the Expedition Bishop at the Quarry Mill in South Shroud to have it appraised and discover what lies within.
Oh, okay. So this is
potential.
Yeah, there's sort of like appraisal items from Nizul,
except hopefully not garbage.
Like we have no idea how good these are going to be.
Yeah.
Like we could, like, hey, cool, I got this mysterious thing. Let me take it out. Oh, it's a cotton vest.
But it's very much what we wanted. It's a chance to get a different kind of treasure and make it worth to keep doing, other than just getting tomestones.
Yeah, if this is a way to output some gear, like that is kind of clever, actually.
Yeah, but it looks like the only way to find where it's located is to use the Palmander of Intuition, which reveals the location of it on the map, and then you have to stand on it and dig it up. So you have no idea where it is. I wonder if you just are randomly standing somewhere, and it happens to be the right spot if you can dig it up if you can't see it.
I don't think so. It says before it can be discovered, players must first use the Palmander of Intuition.
I'm going to assume either the Intuition Pomander will affect you across multiple floors, or there will be some type of message that lets you know it's here somewhere.
You sense something might be on this floor, yeah.
Traps and mines will now affect nearby enemies when triggered. That's cool.
That is good. So it's not so bad now if you run into it in the middle of a fight, because it affects the enemies too.
Yeah.
They've increased the number of experience points earned when defeating enemies.
That's good. So you can level up faster.
Pomander of Fortune's effect has been increased. They've also increased the chance that certain enemies will drop treasure coffers.
I don't know. I sort of think I can't wait to see the full expansion of Deep Dungeon, because it does feel like if you're building up your Aetherpool arm to be able to take the piece of gear out, that your armor should also work under a similar theory.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the expansion on the system means that we're going to be able to work on growing a piece of armor as well, because I think that's what I like about the system. I like the fact that you're working on you're working on a weapon consecutively over multiple runs and then taking it out to be able to use in the real world, whether it be for stats or whether it be for looks. I think it would be cool to have something similar for the armor as well, and I feel like that's sort of what the system was missing out on the first time. So
yeah.
Apparently, according to the chat, there is actually an achievement for finding the Cursed Horde without using the Palmander. So I guess
interesting.
So way to be wrong again, Nika.
That was me.
Hey, Escalia said it was. But, it is worded that way. But I guess you have to actually look down at the achievements to figure it out.
In addition to the item levels 180 and 210 gear you can get in Diadem, you can now get 235 gear.
Oh, this is our Diadem update then, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is that all?
Dueling's being implemented. We knew that.
Well, and
But it
Diadem
can only
though,
be done in a certain area.
it says though that now Disciples of War and Magic can select easy and just the Diadem Hunting Grounds exclusive to War and Magic with no land in hand entering at all.
So that's all people are going to do now.
Disciples of the Land must choose from the original missions when traveling to the Diadem. But it doesn't say if the Diadem Hunting Grounds Easy and Diadem Hunting Grounds are going to be like new areas or if they're just going to be instances specifically for War and Magic. It doesn't say.
Apparently, though, you can only duel in the dueling circle at the Wolves' Den, so that place is going to be packed.
It's actually a square.
I think that this is just sort of like a trial run for openly, like open zone PvP.
I agree. By the way, that is not a circle. Holy cow! You are not kidding, Juxta. That is a square.
Yeah, it's got 4 right angles and everything, man.
Boy, does it.
Custom matches have been adding, allowing players to freely begin battles in the feast between 2 parties. And I believe you can also spectate now. Yep, spectator mode has been added to the feast. Woo!
We should have a night where we
commentate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that would be fun.
That'd be cool.
But only on matches that are custom made. You can't actually spectate random matches.
Right, yeah.
Oh, really?
We have to get in contact with Joe for his Friday night fights. Players can now register to join the feast matched party with any party composition.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is that it?
New items. There we go. We got some gear. We got some gear now.
All right. The gear looks pretty decent, I gotta say.
It's not bad.
I do.
Some of the hats are stupid.
I do like the tank gear.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that. I'd mentioned this when we had taken a look at some of the preview images for the patch.
I'm actually impressed that the white mage gear is different from the black mage gear, instead of just being a freaking recolor.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to be getting the winning tank armor design in this patch?
I don't think so. I think they probably would have made a bigger deal about it if we did.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the body design. Really the whole thing fits together very well.
I said, with the exception of like that stupid hat,
the headpiece, I could live without.
I like all of this gear.
I do also like the sword. The sword is also very well designed too. With the
the ninja daggers are just like the sword but smaller. That's stupid.
Yeah, I think they're really cool looking, though.
Yeah.
I still like them. I mean, I think if we get a closer look, they're not. I think the only similarity they have is that the guard is sort of the same shape, but I think they're still pretty different.
You can't tell because the blade is facing the camera.
I actually really like the monk gear. Is that the one on the bottom right there? Is that monk?
That's all the crafting stuff, isn't it?
I mean, it's hard to tell if because none of them are wearing weapons.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell if that's another crafted tank set or a monk set.
Okay, because I was gonna say I actually really like that one.
I think that's the crafting gear because they say they're getting Ironworks stuff this time around, and that has a very Ironworks feel to it.
It does. Yeah, I was just gonna say that it has something very Ironworksy about it.
Yeah, I think that's the crafter and gatherer gear.
Right. Yeah, I don't hate this gear. I really don't.
I don't either.
I mean, for the last 2 patches, I feel like I've been very critical on the gear,
and it sucked.
Yeah, well, it wasn't good. This is definitely a step in the right direction. I think that they've stepped it up a little bit in terms of the design. So
that seems to be it. The rest is just like help to. Oh yes, fucking thank you. You're following
welcome.
items can now be discarded. Yokai Watch.
Oh no! Why would you want to discard it?
Because I was so upset when I finally got done getting the dagger. I'm like, I'm getting rid of this accursed thing. I must destroy all evidence that I've participated in it, and it wouldn't let me destroy the stupid
Except, are you going to destroy the ninja daggers?
No, but those
not all evidence.
are being locked away in a secret vault on my retainer that will never be used.
You can put it in the armor.
In the armor, yeah.
So new chocobo barding was added. This is I'm not really sure what to make of this.
Sophia barding, right?
Yeah, it's okay. I guess it's kind of ornate. It's a little too ornate for my taste. New mounts have been added, including Goldbird.
I like that bird.
Goldbird.
Goldburb.
Also, new minions have been added, including Heavensward Thancred.
I wonder what their stats are for Lords of Dominion.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh God, stop that voice.
Stop.
She's in color and love it. It's so cute.
Needs to go in an oven.
Stop. Yeah, make good bacon.
It's so cute. But we know that the Thancred one is from Wondrous Tales.
There's also, this is kind of cool. I didn't see this coming. So in the system settings, you're going to be able to add filters such as sepia or monochrome. You've also got some depth of field adjusting and
those are for the,
limb darkening.
Did they
camera thing.
Did they add the filter where you can put the dog nose and ears on yourself?
Snapchat FF14.
Also for the iCam, they disabled/enabled the camera's switching feature. So we'll have to
a countdown feature.
We'll have to play with that. Yeah, Juxta's really excited about that.
I'm excited about that too, just because I'm a tank who pulls things.
Camera lighting has also been added, by the way. You don't have to use the, what was that, the sun?
Wind of sun.
Yeah, the wind of sun. Although I thought that was kind of a clever way to sort of engineer around it, but yeah.
I like that you can pause characters doing group pose now. So now we can do the stupid dances and pause it and get the best screenshots. I'm stoked. I'm going to spend so long playing around with this.
Oh my gosh. Just stop.
Effects indicating borders between areas and zones. You can
toggle off.
You can toggle on and off, as well as effects indicating a plot of land that is yet to be purchased. Let's see. I think that is
a new indicator for the north on the minimap has been adjusted.
Thank God, I could never figure out which way that was.
Well, it stands out. Well, because some people don't lock their map north at spin, so you, I don't know, need a better eye-catching thing.
Anyway, all right, so that's the bulk of what to expect for 3.4. Again, if you're listening on the podcast, you are probably already downloaded 3.4 and have been playing it already. Those of you listening live get a bit of a preview of the patch notes. But we also wanted to have another conversation today because obviously we have we are joined by a very special guest. Today, Kahlo has graced us with his presence
from the land of WoW.
Special Ed.
And we wanted to. So, Kahlo, first of all, where have you been?
Well, the reason I haven't been to show dates is that I have unfortunately been working Sundays because my job hates me.
Right.
But the reason that I've been, some people might be like, Kahlo,
do we not pay you enough here? Do we need to pay you more?
Well,
if he takes 6 weeks off and gets a raise for it, we're gonna have words.
I'm just saying.
I have to agree there.
I'm just saying.
Well, I make.
Do we not pay you enough?
I make about $80 working the other place and $60 working here. So
yeah. Well, yeah. And how much work are you doing there versus here?
Well,
how many hours?
How
many
here.
hours? Yeah,
how many
hours?
I get to play Pokemon. In other words,
how many?
And it's air conditioned.
You get to play Pokemon at this work, don't you?
All right, the air conditioning is a legit thing. Like that's solid.
Although I gotta say, now that we've transitioned into fall, it is not like unbearable in here right now.
I was just thinking that on my way here today.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be 6 of us in the room today, or 5 of us, and it's gonna be so hot. And it's not too bad actually today.
Yeah, it's actually pretty okay.
Though, some people have been asking why I haven't been streaming as much, but I have. I've just been over at Final Encounter Cast because I have been playing a different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a different game.
Just one
is it
different game?
Outlast?
A different MMO?
Yeah.
Is it different games every time?
It's a different MMO.
It's Pirates of the Burning Seas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blade and Soul?
No.
Wait a minute, you're finding out why everyone hates WildStar.
The Matrix Online.
Is WildStar still around?
You made a private server.
No.
You found a server for City Heroes.
It takes place in a world where there may or may not be crafts of war.
You boarded the Titanic?
Final Fantasy XI?
He's playing Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
I get it because you like little kids.
That was a stretch.
Nah, that wasn't very good.
I give it a 10.
See, Juxta saved it for me.
World of Warcraft. I've been playing the new Legion expansion.
You.
Oh.
Aw.
I don't have a World of Warcraft account, do you? No, I have a life.
It's a lie. Juxta does have a World of Warcraft account. In fact, I'm going to out you right here on the show, Juxta. So the day that I had him download it, he made this big hubbubaloo. He hung up on me. He called me back. He hung up on me. He called me on Facebook phone and hung up on me.
Yeah, I did.
And then told me that he installed Final Fantasy XI on my computer.
Good.
So So I get home and he had installed WoW. All right, good job. Fast forward a few weeks later, I'm trying to convince him to play. He finally says, all right, fine, I'll play. And I'm like, but it's going to take you all night to install it. And he's like, no, it's already installed. I installed it the day you did, just in case.
Oh.
Stop shaming me!
You are a terrible person.
I'm sorry.
Even he didn't believe in himself.
God damn you people.
You dirty, dirty man.
What's funny, though, is that of the people who have been tuning in over at Final Encountercast, I've seen this comment more than a few times.
Take off your clothes.
You're not wrong.
God damn it.
Chucks are killing it.
I've seen the comment, does Aniro know? And, which I think is hilarious.
Does Daddy know?
Stop. First of all, which I think is hilarious. Second of all, yes, I know. Third of all, what is even more hilarious is that Kahlo actually asked permission. He was here when it. No,
I didn't ask permission.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
said
did.
I was
Totally
thinking
did.
about
No,
it, and you gave me permission, like I needed it.
You totally asked for permission to go play WoW, which I have granted.
Did he ask for permission to play or to stream WoW?
Both.
Well, actually, streaming, because that's kind of like our competitor.
No, in fact, because what Aniro said was, he goes, if you're going to do it, you can't hide it. It can't be like a dirty little secret.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes it seem. That makes
because even if I'm playing that and not streaming it, then like Nika or Escalia gets the streaming bonus, and I can't have that.
So
we've noticed.
We all know that.
So we've had Kahlo.
Ever.
We've had Kahlo on assignment playing Legion.
On assignment.
On assignment.
Wow,
Keep saying it anyway.
You are covering up for your boyfriend pretty hard today.
All right, I know you said last week you were going to give a blowjob, but you're really working on it.
So let's talk about Legion. We needed to have this conversation
because some interesting things have happened.
Which, I mean, that is a bit unexpected, especially after how poorly
Warlords of Draenor performed.
Right, yeah, exactly. And a lot of people had tuned out from WoW. I mean,
it was a year, like I think over a year without any content update since like the first or second patch of the game.
Did they realize that Draenor was shit and just kind of?
Well, apparently the release of Draenor was good. Like it was a good start, okay?
Yeah.
But I guess what they were then trying to do was focus on releasing expansions faster, and so then they put no production into maintaining or giving more content to Warlords of Draenor. So they went a year with only like the initial drop, and then I think 1 or 2 patches.
Ooh, wow.
If you think about it like this, it makes a lot of sense. Warlords of Draenor was a movie tie-in.
That's true. I've heard quite a bit of that they did Draenor as like a movie tie-in.
Really?
That explains a lot logically.
Yeah.
Considering like it's going back to Outland, not very much like push on like the lore fronts.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to redirect.
And, well, it was like an alternate timeline that can kind of makes.
That does make a lot. Maybe this is just like how I remember it, but didn't Draenor like come out very suddenly? Like was there a lot of like knowledge like beforehand that Draenor was coming?
I wasn't tuned in the game.
I think it was. Oh.
Juxta the one time Square listens to you, they ruin the game with Verminion DF.
He's not
You're
wrong.
welcome.
He's not wrong. Wrangle and thank you.
They didn't listen to me 100% because apparently Lords of Verminion RP is not role-playing.
Yeah. So, rank points. Okay.
Gotta find out who's ranked number 1 and who's number 2, man.
So, all right. So, Warlords of Draenor did not do very well, but Legion, I've been hearing some incredibly positive things about.
It's been a major return to form for Blizzard.
Right. And not just in terms of World of Warcraft, but there are some, like long-term MMO players that have given World of Warcraft its first shot ever because of some of the inventive things that Blizzard's doing with WoW.
Like a jump potion.
No.
Oh.
That I mean, that's something that really impressed me was that, I have friends that have been lifelong MMO players. Well, maybe not but long-term MMO players, veteran MMO players that have never broken down and decided to try WoW. That now with Legion and some of the creative things that they're doing have finally broken down this late into the game and decided, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. That really it definitely impressed me. It made
you take notice.
Made a big impression on me. So,
well, a lot of the things that I've noticed too, getting back in, is because I came in with a very unique perspective, given that we do this show, right? So we have a lot of expectations and ideas that we'd like Square Enix to take
look at
note
this guy
of,
over here,
right?
Yeah, we're a big podcast,
big special dude over here.
Well, we're all kind of big and special. Ed,
I'm just big.
Yeah,
in my pants.
Oh my god. Anyhow, there are some things about WoW that have made me actually question some of the ideas that we have over here for Final Fantasy XI.
Now, okay, so when did you quit WoW?
3 years ago.
So
the middle of Mists of Pandaria.
Okay, all right.
Same.
So 3 years out. That's a pretty long time to be disconnected from an MMO. I think anyone, after not playing for 3 years, is going to look at any MMO, and it doesn't matter how much time they had invested in it in the first place, but they're going to look at it and go, wow, that is really intimidating. What was it about getting back into WoW that either made it not as intimidating or really just either made it a breeze?
It was a breeze for two reasons. The first reason is every single person that I talked to said Warlords of Draenor doesn't exist.
Okay.
Because I'm like, that's a whole expansion I've missed. And they're like, you didn't miss anything. No, just blank it out completely. And then the other big thing they did is that they have completely, except for maybe in a few instances with certain classes, they have completely removed the ability bloat, which is so refreshing.
Okay.
But I heard that now, though, that like so many jobs are like just a few buttons to play now, and it's weird and like,
no, it's not a few.
I got to run soon. Hope the rest of the podcast goes well. Not long till FanFest, you sexy folk. Press pass hype.
That's what's up. Thanks. Press
Wait,
pass.
you got a press pass?
Who is this? Who spoke? Well, who's
That was Chile.
Chile.
They
and
told
I
us
thought they said they weren't doing press passes.
We were told that they weren't.
That's what we're always fucking
That's
told.
what we're always
This is
told.
Wait,
bullshit.
maybe they just fucking hate us.
It's possible.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
You're some kind of moron, you know that?
No, Nick, it hasn't been like turned back so far to where you don't have like a rotation or it's a simple rotation. But before it was insane. You couldn't actually fit all of your things on the number of like hotkeys that they actually gave you, and there were so many things that were unnecessary or did things like, putting up an aura. Just give the aura full time, or remembering to put your poisons on, or just dumb bullshit like that. They streamline a bunch of it to the point where it still takes skill and you still have to pay attention and know what you're doing, but not to the point where you're just like, what is all this shit all over the place?
So, you've been back in World of Warcraft now for what, about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, somewhere around there? Now, do you think in that time that you have experienced content that Square Enix could objectively look at and learn some lessons from and apply to FF14?
Yes. In fact, I think that the entire MMO genre could. But what's interesting is that Blizzard hasn't actually done anything new or original. They've taken the wheel and reinvented it. Okay. And the best example I have, which I'm actually surprised how much I love these, but they've done away with the concept or the idea of what we would normally think of when we think of daily quests.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
There's no more daily quest hubs. There's no more, grind out just this rep. Now they have what's called world quests. And every 12-ish hours, quests pop up on the world. And these are quests that you've done, okay? They are daily quests. They are still exactly what they were before.
Right.
But now they pop up in random spots. So every day that you get on, you're going somewhere different. You're doing something different. It keeps the world alive. It keeps things feeling interesting. It makes you feel like you're an adventurer or a hero going to where you need to go to, help who's ever in need. Now, the other big thing is you do get rep with the different factions, depending on what quests you're doing.
Right.
But the most important part is that the rewards are things you actually need. Order resources for your class hall, which is so much like what the Grand Company adventuring squadron platoon thing is.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Artifact power to power up your relic weapon. We'll get to that. Gold, obviously, but the best thing is I actually upgraded a piece that I got in a raid from a world quest.
Okay.
I was actually able to get to mythic level, item level, without going into a single heroic dungeon from world quest gear. And the reason this is possible is they have this new system called Titan Forging. Whenever you get a piece of gear, be it from a quest or from a boss drop, it has a chance to upgrade by 5 levels. It then has another chance to upgrade, but it diminishes, right? So technically, in a perfect world, you could upgrade up to the max item level, which is 890. That's like unheard of. That's like abysmally small. But you can usually get, if you're lucky, anywhere from like 5 to 15. I think the best upgrade I've got was 20 item levels on something, which was a headpiece that made it better than the raid thing that I had. So even if you're looking, you're like, oh, that's a blue piece of gear that's not an upgrade for me. It could be. So you still go and try it because that could end up being an upgrade. And this is where I started to shift one of my perspectives on how we criticize Final Fantasy, right? We want our gear to mean more. We want it to last longer, right?
Sure.
It's the complete opposite in World of Warcraft. Like, it could change at any minute, and I don't mind that. And I think the reason why is you're also not putting a lot of time into getting a specific piece, right? If you spend almost an entire patch cycle grinding tomes to get this gear, you don't then want it replaced in 2 weeks when the new patch comes out.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Because on the other side of it, they also do what we've done with Gearlust. They brought back Gearlust with a vengeance.
Now, hang on. There's something that I want to point out that you had mentioned. Now, this was early on, and you had said that Blizzard did something. They reinvented the wheel, and I kind of want to. I kind of want to express how important it is, because I'm sure that there are people in the chat, in the audience, that are like, oh, they're talking about World of Warcraft, man, fuck this. That just hate on WoW for no reason. But the reason that we have to look at Blizzard and WoW and Legion is because the only company who's in a position to change the thinking about MMO mechanics is Blizzard, because they've got the audience that they can lose. They can take a hit of 2 or 3 million players and still have a very solvent bottom line.
And if they make a good change, it's something people are going to notice.
Absolutely. So when we have these expectations for smaller MMOs to make huge changes, I don't know that expectation is always fair, because the thing that they're having to balance is their continued existence. We've talked about this both on Limit Break Radio and on Final Encountercast, but that the subscription model for MMOs is a dying concept. It is something that really takes a whole lot of thought and a lot of planning to be able to make successful. And I think that FF14 and WoW are probably the only 2 games that are making that model successful. The other games like Dark Age of Camelot and Ultima Online,
Final Fantasy XI,
really just perpetuate themselves by continuing the subscription model. I don't think that they're actually making money from either of those games. So when you look at it through that lens, it's very important to keep track on what Blizzard and World of Warcraft is doing and how it's shaping and changing the genre, because that gives us our best bellwether for how this game is likely to change, as well as all other MMOs. Period. So if you don't like the fact that we're talking about World of Warcraft, tough titties, we're going to talk about World of Warcraft whether you like it or not. That's the theme of the episode today. So
Threw up in my mouth a little bit.
if you want to call the show, you can do so. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. So yeah, let's continue on with talking about some of the things that Legion has done that other MMOs could really learn from.
All right. Well, the first thing I'd like to touch on, and when I first
little boys.
Good
one.
Thank you.
That was good.
When I first realized this, like my mind was blown. I called a Nero up and I'm like, dude, Blizzard stole your idea. They straight up just took your idea, and your idea was to help reinvigorate or to incentivize more people into the raiding scene on Final Fantasy. You need gear lust. You need that piece of gear that when people see it, they just go crazy over it.
Yeah.
And you were like, figure out what the item level is going to be at the end of the expansion.
Yep.
And slowly start introducing pieces
and build
of gear.
your way toward it. Yeah.
That's right. That's what they did.
Damn it.
They have legendary leveled gear that's $8.95, and they all have like super broken stats on them. Like one of the shaman ones is your nature, frost, and fire elements. If you use any abilities that do that kind of damage, you get a 2% bonus to your damage that stacks with each application. So basically, you just straight up increase your overall damage output by 6%, not even taking into account the stats that piece gives to you.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them are just insanely, awesomely broken. And the first guy in our guild got a legendary a few days ago, and he was then removed from the guild. Because fuck that guy. And now whenever, and then a priest got one too. So now whenever anything happens where they complain about everything, like the other day he's like, oh, my wife and kids are streaming something right now, so my internet's real shitty. Why don't you use your legendary ring to fix your fucking internet then? Oh, what? You died in the middle of a fight? Why don't you resurrect yourself with your legendary gloves? The salt is so real.
The butthurt is there.
But that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, like, that's, I think, the kind of emotion you want to elicit in your player base in terms of gear and gear progression.
Now, this is how they control it. First of all, very, very, very low drop chance, okay? Now, it is something that anybody can get, okay? They say that you can come across legendaries just by playing the games. They'll drop from any kind of dungeon boss. I'm sure there's a slight increased chance with, like hard, heroic, mythic dungeons. Raid bosses, and then there's something you can get each day if you do world quests. Every single day there's a specific faction that's picked as the emissary, and if you do 4 of their world quests, you can then go pick up an emissary cache from them, which has stuff in it, and that has a chance to drop them as well.
I mean, have people figured out what the drop rate chances are between the different stuff, or is it still kind of being sussed out?
It's all just so extremely low.
Super tiny.
Yeah, super tiny.
How many people are in your guild?
Well, no. Well, what I mean, I guess what I'm asking is that is there a percentage difference between getting a legendary piece out of a dungeon versus a raid?
I don't think so.
Like a dungeon would be at like a 1% chance, but a raid would have like a 3% chance?
I think it's all lower than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like 0.001%. Like, how many people are in your guild?
I have no idea.
Like 70?
Yeah.
How many people have a legendary?
2.
Wow.
So you're probably never going to see a legendary.
Well, but here's the thing. They have a pity timer. The longer you play without getting a legendary gear, the more your chance to find one increases. Now,
really?
I don't know how much it increases by if there's a cap on it, but they say that over the life of the game, you will see one.
Eventually. But eventually. I mean, it's been like 3 weeks since Legion hit.
Well, depending on your class and spec, there are 10 to 15 pieces of legendary gear you can get. So, like, as a shaman, there are 15 pieces that I can equip. That's like 5 for each spec. 5 resto, 5 elemental, 5 enhancement.
Right,
okay?
right.
They said your chances of getting duplicate legendaries, like, is so infinitely small just because they're so hard to come by.
Yeah.
Now, the way that they control not becoming too overpowered is, as of now, you can equip 1 legendary item. If you get to the end of your order hall upgrades, there's an upgrade that takes like 14,000 resources, 2 weeks to upgrade, that allows you to equip a second one. So as the expansion progresses, you'll slowly be able to equip a few more.
That's brilliant.
It's your fucking idea, dude.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, god damn it.
Really quick, fun little factoid.
Square Enix, I tried to give you this idea, just so you know.
Really quick little fun factoid. They had actually messed up the pity timer. And I think they fixed it last Tuesday. But instead of increasing your chance when you weren't getting them, when you got a legendary, it increased your chance to get a legendary.
The rich get richer.
So I think there was a very small percentage of the population that got like 2 or 3 legendaries before they fixed that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did they take them away or they let them
Nope, they let them keep them.
Also,
that was their fault. I mean, that's on Blizzard. Nobody hacked that in, so.
That's true.
One misstep I think they did with this legendary system.
Okay.
The glamour is terrible.
Stupid. Yeah.
Oh, it looks terrible.
It looks terrible. So
well, I mean, some of them are good, some of them might be bad, but
No,
basically
want to
they
wear it around
said
and flaunt it if it looks bad. I thought that's the whole point.
well, you can always glamorize it, but what they said was they didn't want to lock certain appearances behind something that you felt like you need. Some stupid
it's
thing.
super really hard to get.
Yeah, something dumb.
really
like
lame,
who
though,
the
'cause-
fuck cares? Just give them their own unique
But
appearance.
it's the same. It's kind of the same justification that Square Enix gives when they're like, "Well, we want everyone to be able to experience these raid environments."
That bothers me though because a part of the gear lust is being able to see a character run by and have
right.
that unique.
So now you'd have to know that someone has it or inspect them or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna second you. That
Yeah,
that
I
does
agree.
that does make it a little bit take the punch out of it a little bit.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, sure does.
Yep.
Because you want to just show it up. You're like, look
Right.
at this chest. You can't have this.
And in most cases, it's like a wrist or a ring that you can't see anyway. So, I mean, yeah, that does kind of suck. It'd be cool if there was a title, like once you get like all your class legendaries or 5 legendaries
Sure, yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Because then that's a way to show it off, right?
Right, yeah.
So that would be really cool. But yeah, honestly, the legendary equipment, every time I go to pick up my emissary quest, I'm just like, this is the day. This is the one. Open it. Fucking 8-10 pieces.
Oh, okay. So Blizzard has sort of reworked the concept of daily questing, got rid of the quest hub structure.
Yep,
that's good. What about world bosses? I mean, we had talked about this on Final Encountercast that there was
Cosmoth the Hungering.
Yeah, there was a boss that people had been
right. Okay,
doing
now,
various small tasks.
This
for.
idea is really cool, but in concept, as of right now, it's really not all that great. But yeah, basically they had found these mysterious orbs scattered throughout the Broken Isles. Okay?
Yeah.
And then they had found an NPC who had a table in front of him with just a bunch of shit on there. And people kind of noticed, like, hey, that kind of looks like the Broken Isles, right?
Yeah.
And they started to realize that there were certain marks that aligned with where they were discovering these orbs.
Okay.
So they started basically coordinating each other to hit all these orbs in certain orders. And yeah, it spawned an old god, which is like a super big deal. Like old gods are like, the Cthulhu of the world, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, holy shit, this world boss. But apparently he doesn't drop all that much. All that he drops is a special jellyfish mount that I guess you have to participate in spawning him in order to even get the quest for it. So when he spawns, he's a world boss, so he's going to take more than just a few people or a party
Right.
or a raid to take down.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's not much incentive for everyone to go and fight him. Maybe there's more to it than that, but besides him being discovered, there hasn't really been a whole lot of news surrounding him.
Okay.
Now, they did just release their actual world bosses this past week, and the way that those work is each week it'll be a different world boss that spawns. There will be a world quest to go along with it, and yeah, basically you need to team up with everybody. I mean, it's nothing super special. You can get raid level gear off of it. It's just another way to help people gear up a little bit quicker.
Okay.
So there's not really anything too spectacular behind that.
Is that sort of like a big server wide conflict that like you just flag up and join in the melee?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, both Horde and Alliance can join in on it, so it's not like you have to worry about tagging it for just your side of it or whatever.
Got it. Okay.
Which is actually something else to be said for World Quests 2 is, in a way, they've kind of, I think, stepped away from the Horde Alliance conflict from a narrative standpoint, which, I mean, makes sense if there's something that's like the Legion that's threatening the planet as a whole. You don't really have time to worry about warring amongst yourselves.
Sure.
But now when you're out like fighting, if there's a wanted quest where you have to kill a boss, you can team up with Alliance people. Not literally in party, but you can help each other. There was actually one time I was sitting around for a world quest thinking I was waiting for a boss to spawn because I couldn't find him anywhere. And this Night Elf rode up, and we're both just sitting there for a while. And then I get a random BattleNet Friends invite. I'm like, okay, all right. So I accept it, and it's that guy, and he's like, are you looking for so-and-so, the boss? I'm like, yeah, I am. He goes, oh, it's over here, and he leads me to it and helps me kill it. So that was kind of cool instead of, being killed and in corpse camp, someone actually helped me out. That was nice.
Cool. All right. If you want to give us a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We're talking about FF14 and World of Warcraft's Legion and what FF14 could possibly stand to learn from Blizzard and World of Warcraft.
Slugs in the thing real quick says if it's a PvP server, which it is, you actually have to be careful of your AoE because your AoEs will still hit like Alliance players.
Okay. Let's go to our phone lines now and talk to Arthurs. Arthurs, what's going on, man?
Holy shit! Finally, man, I've been waiting for so long.
I know since last week, man. Arthurs, thanks for joining us here on Limit Break Radio.
Yo.
So how many artifact weapons have you finished?
No, not gonna talk about that because the last 1 month, actually since Legion came out, I also kind of want to do a kind of a research myself, just like back then when I did Blade and Soul. Like for me, every single time when Final Fantasy XIV goes to a very dry period, especially when we raid and clear stuff fast, I usually would take like the last 1 month off to play something else just to freshen up before the patch. So Blade and Soul was what I did in 3.1, if you guys remember. So this time it's World of Warcraft, right? It's because I want to do research, right?
That's the only reason.
Well, Arthur's, hang on. Let us ask your history with World of Warcraft. Is this your first time playing it, or have you played it before and are coming back to it?
I played before very long time ago, during the Final Fantasy XI days, before RBC actually. No, not RBC. I don't remember. It was a very long time ago.
Okay.
It's just because I was trying to date this girl who explained World of Warcraft, so I played it. I'm not really into it, but I mean, when I play a new game, I don't just play for fun. I usually go really deep into it. Like Blade and Soul, even if it's 1 month, I fucking hardcore it. I play every day, 10-15 hours at least a day. This time for World of Warcraft, not that much different as well. So I kind of have seen through everything so far for Legion, so I've been waiting to make this call and talk about it. I'm not gonna be biased. I'm not gonna be like saying 11 is better or 11 suck compared to World of Warcraft, vice versa. So it can still be heaty. So I hope that you guys wouldn't mind.
No, of course. But I mean, I guess, just what I was curious about is whether coming back to World of Warcraft, you had many resources at your disposal. It sounded like you're coming back fresh. So, all right. So coming back to World of Warcraft, completely fresh. What have you seen so far in your experience that you think that Square Enix could afford to learn from Blizzard's development?
Well, I really don't know where to start. So actually, I was taking notes. When Kalo is talking about his experience, I actually did some. I took down some points so that we can counter debate a little. Okay, let first things first. When I go in fresh, right, it's about leveling, right? Obviously, because I need to get my new job, and also I'm going to try the new job, right, Demon Hunter. So when I try leveling, basically the leveling system, no difference from any other game. You can, I mean. They actually even force you to do some really stupid shit. I'm pretty sure Kalo knows what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, the leveling system is no different.
Well, unless you take into account, and I completely forgot about this because the leveling process, once you do it, it's gone, is that every single zone scales to your level now. So when you start the expansion, you can go to any zone you want, and when you reach 110, there's no low-level zone now. You're still in danger everywhere you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. But because if you want to proceed to the story, which then eventually unlock raids, etc., you have... It doesn't matter which island you start from. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter which island you start from. By the time you get 110, you will then be called upon to go to Surama and do that final continent, right?
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it scales. I don't care whether it's fucking awesome, it scales. At the end of the day, you have to finish all 4, just that you pick whatever order you like, which, I mean, maybe some people out there, whichever piece of lore you want to explore first, go for it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to still have to complete these 5 continents. It doesn't matter whether they scale,
for the
you will
MSQ.
still be doing the same quest. You will still be doing the same quest. You will be doing the same fetching. You'll be still doing the same fishing, same kill X amount of mob, travel to B after you finish this area just to proceed the story. It's the same shit. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to say that this is something bad because this is just what modern MMO is already.
Yeah.
14 is like that, Blade and Soul is like that. So this one is nothing special or not something that is bad, just something that sadly modern MMO is like that. We have to live with it. So leveling wise, simply put, nothing special, which I was a little bit disappointed because being World of Warcraft, after not playing so long, right, I really expect like, holy shit, maybe World of Warcraft is like, started out like, during the 11th time.
World of Warcraft was the first game to start stripping the leveling elements out, as far as I could tell. I mean,
when I was leveling my rogue back then, it was not this simple. It was not this straightforward. Like very long ago, though.
That's fair.
Even
That's
when
fair.
when it was level 50 cap. I mean
it's sort of. I feel like it's sort of what you get when you streamline an already streamlined process. You guys remember something like Ion? It is the same. We still do quests, but back then World of Warcraft and Ion is still a little bit grinding. You have quests to guide you, but some gaps, some certain part of the level you still have to grind it. But anyway,
well, mechanically what he's talking about is true, but there's a bunch of things that they've still improved. There's voice acting everywhere now. Like even just normal quests and like little NPCs and stuff. They've embraced more of a narrative perspective in the questing, so you don't feel like you're bored, or even though you are doing the same shit over and over again that you've always been doing, it's streamlined in a way that makes sense. They've cut out all the boring shit that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So all right. That kind of covers the leveling. Let's talk about the meat of what is in Legion, because I from all reports that I've heard, Kahlo and other folks as well, is that this is an expansion that's very much focused on what you do once you get to level cap, as opposed to the journey of getting there. Right.
Exactly.
And that this is an expansion that supports an existing player base as opposed to try to entice a new player base into playing.
Yeah, once you hit level cap, like, quests explode everywhere. Like, you don't know what to do. You are so overwhelmed by dungeons, by your world quests, by your class quests, and your order hall. It's massive. Now, one of the things that...
No, it's not that bad. The first day is bad because, like you say, everything unlocks. But once you go through the first cycle of World Quest, and also I want to correct you when you say 12 hours per refresh of World Quest.
I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's 6 hours. Every 6 hours it refreshes World Quest. Once you understand that, you know exactly what time. For me, I actually, in the first few days, right, I actually set alarm clock to wake up to do World Quest.
Yeah, I usually do my World Quest once a day.
Because like you say, because the most important thing when you get to level 60 is gearing up 810 or something like that to do heroic dungeons. So that's why it's initially you would really feel overwhelmed with all the World Quests. But once you do one cycle, once you are able to access the heroic dungeon, you realize that, I mean, only up till last week, I think, they start to actually give you more gear higher than 850.
Yeah,
so
when the mythic dungeons unlock, which is a whole nother animal to talk about.
Yeah. So before that, when you first get 110 in the first few days, you realize that you don't really have much choice to overgear because they kind of cap you like 840, 850 rather than like now you can get 855.
Well, Arthur's, I got to 842 without stepping into a single heroic or mythic.
Exactly. That's what I want to cover next. So once you know what to expect, you know what specific things to do, it wouldn't overwhelm you. Like right now, I'm already item level 8.
Obviously, being overwhelmed is something that just happens at the beginning, and once you actually get your bearings, things make sense. But there's still a ton of stuff to do.
Right.
Yeah.
They even made professions interesting. Oh, you're just mad because Reeves sucks.
Engineering sucks.
Engineering's awesome still. You actually have to quest for your recipes.
Let's talk about the dungeons. Can we like talk about the dungeons? This one I'm really interested to cover. Can we talk about the dungeons?
What about the dungeons?
Okay, so before I play World of Warcraft, right, I received this feedback like, holy shit, Final Fantasy XIV dungeons compared to World of Warcraft dungeon is like, World of Warcraft have like, this time they have how many dungeons? 10 dungeons?
Number of dungeons, yeah.
Yeah, number of dungeons 10. So let's just average one dungeon about 4 bosses. So you are talking about 40 bosses, right? While Final Fantasy only have like 2 dungeons and like 6 bosses. So you kind of feel that World of Warcraft have a lot, right? That I agree.
Yeah, how much is that have to do with like resources at hand though? I mean, obviously Blizzard has been going at this a long time and they're able to pour a lot of money into the monster that is World of Warcraft. I wonder how big the dev teams are compared to each other.
Yeah. So, but the mechanics of the fight though, coming from Final Fantasy XIV, me and we have like we have a few streamers that get together, go into the same alliance and do the dungeons and raids. So, conclusion, the dungeon is fucking phase roll. You can have 40 bosses. The dungeon is phase roll. One boss only had one mechanics, or maybe two.
Okay, but you also have to remember that there are 4 different difficulties in these dungeons, okay? Sort of. You got your normal one, which is absolutely face roll. Even on heroic, it doesn't really change too much. It's just like a difficulty increase. But when you start getting into mythic, okay, bosses get new mechanics. And if you're going to start doing the mythic pluses, so 4. On mythic plus, when you do a mythic dungeon, you get a keystone, okay? So keystone 2 gives every single monster in that dungeon 17% health and damage bonus. At 3, it goes up to 27. Up to 100% bonus at plus 10.
Jeez.
You can actually go up to plus 15, but it caps at the 100. But that's not all. You also get what's called affixes, okay? At 4, 7, and 10, you get a random affix, which is something like Sanguine. All monsters, or non-boss monsters, when they strike you, give you a stacking debuff that does more damage and reduces healing done. There's one affix to where any overhealing done to the tank by a main healer spec, the overhealing heals the enemy that you're fighting.
Well, now, but my question to you guys would be, is this something that Square Enix could mimic in their dungeon structure to give for example, to give a challenge to Nika, who has been asking for 4-player challenging content
their dungeon
for
structure,
over 2 years now?
Their dungeon structure?
Yes, dungeon structure, definitely.
The reward structure? No.
Not
This would
sure,
not
yeah.
stand with the reward
That I
structure.
agree. Yeah,
because
exactly.
the way that it works is the higher your mythic plus is, the higher item level gear you have. The more chance you have at that gear. Because at the end is when you get the gear.
So Square Enix would have to look at what the reward, what the risk reward factor there would be.
Yes, which is something we've always said. That's I think Square Enix's biggest problem is when a patch comes out, you basically have 2 sets of gear for the entire patch cycle,
which means that you have either 2 or one of 2 objectives for the entire duration of that patch.
Right, and even if you give harder objectives, if it's still the same gear, what's the point of doing that harder objective?
Right, that is a bit, it's monotonous is what it is.
I mean, I've never thought that I would have so much fun doing the same dungeon over and over again, or when it gets to the point where it's just so boring and face-rolly. Why are we still doing this?
But the point is that that Blizzard has built in a reason to do it.
Yes, and there's also a UI that tracks in your guild who has the quickest runtime, because it's timed as well, the quickest runtime for the mythics of the week and the highest keystone. And at the beginning of the next week, based on what the highest keystone was you participated in, you get a chest with more gear rewards in it.
Look, penis measurement has always been an important part of MMOs. It's true.
Yeah.
So, all right. Moving on from dungeons, Arthur's. What else do you?
No, dude, I'm not done. I mean, done. I have a little bit more to touch on that. When I say face roll, I don't mean the normal and heroic. I was exactly talking about Mythic and Mythic Plus. The Mythic and Mythic Plus is not that bad. It's still 1 or 2
How
mechanics.
high have you gotten on Mythic Plus?
Boss might hit harder. The trash mobs, especially the trash mobs, is actually harder than the bosses itself. You know, it's all about CCing and killing, which I appreciate it, because the World of Warcraft dungeon makes you, this is a plus point, by the way. I feel that having the trash mob actually means something that actually cock blocks you to get to the bosses, which eventually turns out to be a 1 or 2 mechanic fight. Most probably, if you can handle the trash mob, usually you can handle the boss, and then you get rewarded. I like that, and also it feels to me like it's an actual dungeon rather than FF dungeon. We just round everything up and AOE. So for me, that's the plus part. But for the boss's difficulty, even for the Mythic Plus, which I agree that the higher you go, the more things, the more reward, the more things, mechanics you see. But that only comes after you are geared, which then doesn't necessarily mean that.
What's the highest Mythic Plus that you've been in?
Me, so far just +3. So far just +3.
So the second tier then. You have 15 to go, and you've only done 3?
I know. No, dude, don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on the Mythic Dungeon. I'm just saying what I experienced so far. But I can tell you that everything that comes in, once you do the dungeon once, it is not that when you get a new Mythic
You haven't
class,
even gotten a fix yet.
Look. Again, I'm going to stress that our focus here today is not on the relative difficulty of the different versions of things that exist in World of Warcraft. That's getting a little bit too granular. What we're looking at are big concepts that World of Warcraft has applied to their content that Square Enix could genuinely benefit from and take those concepts and work into their own content. I mean,
not a World of Warcraft show.
Yeah, like I mean, for as interesting as the hard or not discussion is, like that's
bottom
just
line
not...
on dungeons then is that Square Enix is only giving us 2 per patch. If there was a way to increase the difficulty or put little
and the reason random, and it seems like
random effects into it.
Well, the reason that we're only getting 2 per patch is that it does, and this is completely understandable, is that they are a lot of work. You're creating new art assets or reorganizing art assets from a previous dungeon and balancing new mechanics. So I think that Blizzard and World of Warcraft fine-tuning the mechanics and giving you an option and also giving you a reason and weight to doing so is probably a pretty good structure. I have to imagine they've seen some very good returns on it, and I think that is something that Square Enix could mimic and would not end up creating a whole lot of work because you don't have to recreate those things like art assets and balancing. You just keep you do what they've already been doing with other fights, where they build a big hard version of it and then scale it down for for easier versions.
I mean, even when it comes to the rewards, it's not like they're making new item sets for all of these. It's the same exact item set. It's the same look. It's just the stats that are upgrading.
Right.
And really, that's all we care about. I mean, you had a perfect vessel for that idea with Diadem.
Sure, yeah, and that is important to mention, that for as much as style is important, glamour is the true end game, but that if you did have a stat reason more than just the difference between lore gear and raid gear to do other pieces of content, I think that is a very compelling reason, because every reason that we're given so far from Square Enix feels like do it for this for this cosmetic piece or for this cosmetic thing that doesn't really impact the balancing of the game, and it does feel like a reluctance on Square Enix part to break the balancing that they've built, which I understand, but I think that they need to reevaluate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it's taken them this long to give Astrologians the buff that they've needed, to be honest.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's talk about artifact weapons, because this seems to be an area that, again, World of Warcraft did very well, but has been incredibly unsatisfying in the FF14 arena.
And when we first heard about this is something that we criticized WoW for. Oh, let's just give everybody an Ashbringer then, right? So, all right, that kind of thinking, sure, I'm going to give you that. But no, I have absolutely no complaints about it. Basically, each class, and in some cases, I think certain classes kind of benefited more because, like Ashbringer or Doomhammer, like you have an actual lore weapon that has been in the game forever, and that kind of weight's just so cool. And then you see like the hunter gun. Oh, poor hunters. It just looks so shitty. But what's cool about it is, so you upgrade it with something called artifact power, which you find on various items through quests, through world quests, through all kinds of different stuff. And at first it's like, all right, you need 300 artifact power. Okay, now 400, 800, 1200, 3000, 10,000. 20,000, 30,000, like it jumps up super quick.
That's very grindy.
Like it's like holy crap! It's not quite.
It is grindy, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, what's good about it is it's not like in FF14 where you're going out specifically to just grind up your weapon.
Right.
Like I said, you get it through questing.
You get it through a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Through everything. Just playing the game gives it to you. You can obviously focus on certain things that'll get it quicker, like world quests and stuff like that.
It's a little like Stardust for Pokemon Go. You just do stuff in the game and you end up accruing Stardust.
Now, as you upgrade it, though, you actually have this UI that pops up on your weapon where there's like paths around your weapon. So you use this artifact to level up and actually change the way you play your class or give you new abilities and talents.
So is it like a skill tree?
Yes, it's a skill tree. That's exactly what it
Okay.
is. And you can basically choose which way you go. Now, why this is important is at first you're proceeding around it pretty quickly, but when you're at the point where I am now, you're only getting like one skill point every few days or once a week, and it's only going to get worse.
Sure.
So you have to really decide, like, all right, all these things are really great, but at what rate do I want them? And now you can actually refund all of your points to redistribute them, but it is at a penalty. I don't know what the percentage is.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to do that now.
However, though, by the way, this artifact system, if anything in Legion that I absolutely love is this fucking artifact system. This is fucking brilliant. I think Kalo already covered a lot, but it gets grindy. But because once you do a certain part of the quest, you can actually place work order to get artifact power, which would then increase the amount of artifact power you gain
yes,
from
if you
item.
do
For example,
researches, you can increase the percentage you get from it. But like I was telling somebody earlier, it doesn't, like, it was Juxta. He's like, oh, I'm just going to wait till I get my percentage gained up higher. Okay, fine, but even though your percentage gained is increasing, so is how much you need.
Sure,
so
yeah.
even if you just think, oh, I'm going to wait till it's 1,000% gain,
it's
still going to be so far behind, it's not going to catch you up.
It's a way to offset how huge those...
A little bit, yeah. No, and really what it's mostly for is because you get the artifact, there's a different artifact weapon per spec, right? And you can get all three of those over time. So all it is when you decide to pick up an off spec or your third spec, you can get that caught up quicker rather than leveling your first one.
That makes sense.
Because if someone says to me, hey, switch to elemental spec for this fight, okay, but instead of using my 900 item level Doomhammer, I'm going to have a 750 item level Fist of the Thunder God or whatever.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I kind of like the idea. I also like the idea of having a skill tree in there because I think that for as much as Square Enix is trying to personalize the weapons by giving them some sort of personality for some reason, and gives us the ability to somewhat customize them through the process, I feel like that's a much more direct way and gives you the sense of choice, real meaningful choice of where your skill tree is going to be advancing.
I'm already doubting and actually kind of not disappointed. I've had buyer's remorse with some of the talents that I've gotten because there was one that I completely skipped over because I'm like, that's not going to help me so much.
And then
I got it the other day and my AoE DPS almost tripled.
Wow.
Yeah, because of that one talent, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
What else did I miss now that I probably should have got to begin with?
Yeah. No, and I think that, when you create a skill tree and locking the decision, you create a position where, you're making the player, you're forcing the player into a decision and a progression path. And yeah, sometimes, if you make the wrong decision, you can have kind of gimped DPS for a little bit. But what's also nice is that they do allow you to respect, so it's not so punishing.
Small penalty, but
no, the respect is
how much
something that
AP
you
do you lose?
Never consider. You don't respect. It costs a lot of artifact power. It's basically like resetting the tree at the cost of a next level, which what Kalo already said, that the next level is so much AP you would never want to respect.
So the further
basically,
along you get, the bigger penalty.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
You have to stick with it. But however, though, at the end of this system is awesome because Final Fantasy XIV's grind is a bit. It's so grindy that you only get a reward if you don't do raiding at the end of the grind. But for this system, it's so good that while you grind, you get boost. And then even if you choose the wrong decision, I know because I also make some wrong decision, it hurts a little. But if you look at the grand picture, at the end of the day, after this whole grind, because this is supposed to, because Legion, the reason why this artifact system works so good in Legion is because this artifact is the only, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, this only
artifact
weapon. Yeah.
is the only weapon that you can get in this game. So the whole weapon system, how you deal damage, what type of damage you're doing, what type of tree you're doing, all revolves this weapon. So Final Fantasy is different. Final Fantasy Anima weapon is a choice.
Right.
This one, is kind of a choice in terms of your skill tree, but eventually you will complete it if you were to get your artifact power, do your dailies, like just play
one of the
game, like
reasons that Final Fantasy XIV feels so grindy, like you said, is they come out with the next leg of the quest, and you spend the next 3 months doing this, and it takes so long and so much time of focusing just on that. Then you get your upgrade, and the next week they're like, oh, here, now you can upgrade your lore weapon.
Right.
That's exactly the same. Whereas this one, it is your only weapon, so you don't really have a choice.
Right.
But at the same time, it's every few days it's upgrading along with you, so you're constantly seeing the fruits of your labor as you go along.
But does it?
So this is a super system. This is really good. This one is really good. This artifact system is really good.
Does it make it feel a little bit ubiquitous because you know that every other player is also using Oathbringer, whatever the fuck?
Maybe, but everyone's going to be speccing it at least a little bit differently, probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, and of course,
no, that's only one spec. If you were to spec differently, that means you choose the wrong path and then you just go cry in the corner. But eventually it will even out, though. But
eventually it's all going to be the same. But no, I get what you're saying.
And
because
even with graphic changes and stuff like that, but it's just like, when I feel like whenever we're on a current relic step or whatever, and everyone's running around with the same item or the same weapon, or if the latest EX is out and that's the current the current best one.
I think that's a fair criticism. I personally don't feel that way on my shaman because I don't see a lot of enhancement shamans around for some reason, even though they're pretty high up on the in the meta. But I think just the fact that it's Doomhammer, which is one of the coolest lore weapons in my opinion, I'm okay with it. I think a lot of people still glamour their weapons into other things.
Sure, yeah.
I still can't. Even if I make a whole new glamour set that doesn't go with the color scheme, I still keep the Doomhammer because it's the Doomhammer, and I have a fucking lightning axe in the other hand.
Yeah, but when you have 3 people next to each other that are all wearing Doomhammers, it sort of takes a bit of a...
No, you're not wrong. It doesn't personally bother me, but that is also a fair criticism.
That also encourages people to then check them and see how far along is their stat line.
I don't think you can check other people's stat lines.
Oh, you can't? Okay, never mind.
So, I mean, I'm very interested in a relic system like that. I do think that, a lot of these are a lot of concepts that we had kind of talked about.
Yeah, I didn't get any sleep last night because after the raid, I'm looking at my world quests, going to have time to do them, and there was 10k worth of artifact power. That would have got me my next talent. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not getting sleep. And then I was dying to trash and stupid quests that I shouldn't have because I was so tired. So I just had to be like,
gotta pack it in, gotta tap out.
But the world quest is at the end of the day, it's almost like a daily, except that you have your choice.
No, it is a daily. It absolutely is. But they've just done it in a good way.
All right. Well, Arthurs, do you have any sort of final thoughts? Any other big system stuff that WoW does that Square Enix could afford to learn from?
I would say this one really stands out for me. I'm kind of sitting on the fence here because I'm not sure which one I prefer after trying especially the WoW raid, the heroics raid. Okay, I might touch on a little bit of difficulty, but I try not to. But I just want to tell you the difference between the raid, and I'm really not sure whether which one I'm willing to take. For example, in Final Fantasy, right, our raids is kind of like no trash mob. You go in and fight a boss, which is I would say average 10 minutes long. Maybe the last one is about 12 minutes long. And then you have a lot of mechanics, a lot of phases that is just on and going and going. For me, it's fine. I've been playing Final Fantasy for the last 3 years already. So for me, it's fine. But when I go into World of Warcraft raiding, what interesting that I found out regarding the raids is the raids have 7 bosses. But because, like I say, don't get me wrong though, I'm not saying that they are really easy this time though. The raid because it's more people, more coordination. So in a way that even though right now, because Mythic raiding is not out yet, I can't talk about Savage versus Mythic, but the way I look at how Mythic might be able, because guys are already out there already. Even Mythic raiding is not out, guys is already out there. And having done Heroic and look at the Mythic guides, it feels like one boss is still going to have 1 or 2 mechanics, but there's so many bosses, and every bosses you get loot, and then you progress, you get loot, another boss you get progress, and then you fight the final boss. So you also have, like I said, the very difficult trash mob in between. So for World of Warcraft, the concept of raiding is a boss with 1 or 2 mechanics that you have to deal with 20 people and then you move on, versus Final Fantasy with everything just chunking up on one boss. I'm not sure which system do I miss more or do I like. So this one
Because, well, we've heard a lot about the way that World of Warcraft presents their raids. It's very different from the format that Final Fantasy ends up using. And, I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because I don't hear the same criticisms being thrown around about 14 or about WoW that I hear about 14, where it's just corridors worth of trash and then a boss room that's a boss encounter in a circle room.
Well, actually, Arthur's, I think that your perspective of that is very, very superficial and only skin deep. I actually had a pretty lengthy discussion last night on stream about the differences between raiding and FF and WoW. And obviously you have the obvious stuff, like WoW presents it in a lot flashier way. You have actual big, huge zones that are very in-depth and comprehensive, and then you just have your corridor and your rooms with Final Fantasy. But in Final Fantasy, when it comes down to raiding, it's all about the jump ropes. It's about memorization and not taking damage. Like, straight up, you must avoid as much damage as is humanly possible. And screwing up, like Nika was saying earlier, if you screw up in Savage on the Mind Blast or whatever, if it's not silenced one time, you wipe. That's it.
Yeah.
Whereas in World of Warcraft... You're right. The difficulty goes high. I'm not sure if... We've had that kind of discussion before, but yes, it's a different kind of difficulty, but they both have that difficulty. What's different with World of Warcraft is taking damage is part of the meta. It's not just straight up don't take any damage. It's not about memorization. It's about working in... And not that Final Fantasy isn't about working in cohesion, but I think there's more mechanics that sort of support this idea of working in cohesion, taking damage, and figuring out where it's okay to do this and where it's not okay. For example, the boss Ursak will charge someone, and the further away you are, the less damage it does, but the more people he runs through, the less damage it does. So you have to put a group behind him and have the person being charged make sure they're in between so they get hit, but then you have to rotate groups in and out, because if you take that charge more than twice, you will die. Or when you look at the Heart of Corruption or Cenarius, there are so many adds everywhere that they cannot all be controlled by tanks. Your DPS, your healers will have stuff on them. So it also becomes part of a healer or DPS's responsibility to know how much you can take, to know when to use your defensive cooldowns, to aid in healing as well. Final Fantasy will sit here and be like, oh, healers only heal. No, they got a DPS too. Well, in World of Warcraft, if you have a healing move, you're going to be expected to help take care of yourself as well.
Sure. Right.
So I think they both have their merits, but down at the fundamentals, they're different.
But the mechanics you covered, though, are not the key. Those mechanics is just the very... You're right. This is also the first raid. But the mechanics, like you mentioned, like in Final Fantasy, if you were to make one mistake, you wipe. The raid in World of Warcraft, that is also what it matters the most. Like, there is some... Like, for example, the Nightmare Dragons... You know what I'm talking about. Other people probably don't know what I'm talking about. Like, it's a very simple tank swap mechanic. But if the tank doesn't know what to do for that specific key mechanic, it doesn't matter if there's ads around the room where, like you say, some people have to help soak this, tanks can't do everything.
Yeah, it's still raiding as a basic concept, so they do still share some ideas, obviously.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to talk about the difficulty. What I'm just expressing is how I feel about the rating in both games. I'm actually fine with both games. So, although I mean, coming from a very old MMO player till date, I actually kind of miss this so-called, like you say, a grand setup. Final Fantasy 1 boss is okay, is cool. I like it, but actually, I kind of more leaning towards. Can you imagine if Final Fantasy can make a raid like World of Warcraft with maybe the same difficulty as their boss? I think that would be good, but at the same time, I don't think it would be well received.
No. I think that I think that the way that they approach raids and the mechanics are too different to necessarily adapt that. What I think Final Fantasy should take from World of Warcraft's raiding is the way that they present it, and
that's what I was kind of focusing on. Yeah,
and I think that they have a great start with the Weeping City of Macaw, right? I mean, the first whole part of that zone up until before you go into Ozma's area, and even Ozma's area is so cool. I was a little disappointed with Callista Fairy's little room. Seemed like more of the same. But just this idea of having this entire huge zone that's all put together cohesively.
But here's the thing, though. Even with Macaque, you had the same problem where... where
I have a lot of problems with your cock.
I know.
Yeah.
Where you had the same.
I don't have any problems, Daddy.
You had the same problem. God, stop it.
You say something just to say that.
Ugh. You had the same problem where you're going through corridors worth of trash to get to a boss room. And I think it just in concept, like with you saying like they dump you into the middle of a zone, much in the same way, like kind of similar to how Diadem is sort of structured. I think I'd like to see some kind of content that's presented in that same way where you're dumped into a zone and that it doesn't feel like there's some sort of linear progression path that you have to take, but that you're put into a zone and that choices are laid out before you. The problem with Diadem is that nothing that you did in that zone felt satisfying.
There wasn't really any choice.
Yeah, you're going and popping dinosaurs. Like, can you imagine if Diadem was a more intricate zone that felt like it was telling you a story as you were progressing?
That's the other big thing. Like, every single boss within the Emerald Nightmare is present in lore somewhere. You know, there's Ursak, the bear god that was corrupted in Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
Whereas you go into Weeping City Makan, okay, I got a spider, I have this dead guy. Ozma had some cool lore behind her.
Right.
And then you have Callistoferia, which is just, I guess, a demon thing.
Yeah.
No, we talked about the lore, about how it was wasn't it like a mutated person who stayed behind, not the one person who didn't get wiped away in the flood.
Right.
Like, there was actually a lot of lore to.
But it would have been nice if, because I assume to find that you really have to dig deep for it. It's not just like presented to you. Like as you're fighting Ursak, he's like yelling shit at you and talking about stuff. And the same thing with Cenarius. So there's actual like dialogue between bosses and stuff going on.
It's sort of like
during.
if Forgal had been introduced earlier and we got like a preview of him in a cutscene or something, and then we got to face off with him, that would have felt a little bit more satisfying.
Exactly.
From like a narrative perspective. I could see that. Arthur's,
Can
thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Can I make just one last point? One last point regarding the goods and bads. Okay. Back to the legendary. I'm not sure. Like you guys were talking about the wow factor when you see somebody legendary, but like for example in Final Fantasy XI, when you see somebody with a relic, when you see somebody with a really good piece of HQ gear back then in the days like an Armada Halberd, you'll be like, holy shit, right? That wow factor, right?
The FF11 relic was a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
For World of Warcraft wow factor, like legendary, I was expecting that legendary is something that comes from raid or a very difficult, like a mythic plus like 15 dungeon. But I was a little bit disappointed that it comes from like random stuff, like
that anybody could eventually get it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And suddenly it is not a wow factor anymore. To me, it is like, okay, actually it's funny. So far the people that we check with a legendary gear turns out to be people who is fucking bad. And I'm super salty right now because until now, playing so much, I still have a legendary, and then it doesn't feel like a wow factor to me.
But that's obviously Blizzard placating to the we wants. That's Blizzard.
However, though,
but I'd like to point out that you are still getting salty as fuck about it.
But however, though, the system regarding getting, like you say, the Titan Forge system, like you can either get an 840 or 855. Or even an 895 that's not legendary, or even a legendary. I like that system. I hope that Final Fantasy raiding one day, for example, I just take for example like the Midas we have right now. We have like 240 Midas gear, right? Why can't we say like rather than people like now you even have a token system, so eventually people will get what they want. How about we have a system like WoW like that? Like okay, today I clear turn 2. I get Midas goggle of scouting, which is 240. Is it possible maybe this WoW system can come into Warcraft? Like, okay, maybe next week I get the same goggles, but it's actually item level 245.
Yeah, that'd be great to have that kind of thing. It would add up a lot of variation into Final Fantasy, and it would make running things again worth it.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we had suggested.
Yep.
Yeah, so Arthurs, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate hearing from you every time we do. Again, you can check him out at twitch.tv/Arthurs and make sure that you sub to his channel. Arthurs, I'm assuming you're going to be back in Eorzea as of Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry, man. Initially, I thought when the show is about 14 and WoW, I'm like, I thought that we'd be talking about like difficulty and the community, but eventually we are just talking about the good and bad. So I kind of derailed at the beginning. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, because difficulty is definitely something that is considered, but I think that Square Enix's biggest problem is not the difficulty presentation of their content, because that seems to be right on with Savage. It's the problem has been the reward and also the presentation of the content, and that's what Blizzard seems to have gotten so right with Legion. And so I think that's where the biggest comparison can be drawn and the most value can be had out of the discussion. So, Arthurs, of course, we always appreciate having you on and hearing from you. Again, twitch.tv/Arthurs. Make sure that you go and follow him, sub to his channel, and again, going to be in Eorzea as of Tuesday. Thanks, Arthurs.
Yo, thanks, guys. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you
by
too.
the way, Nika, congrats on the baby. Just joking.
Oh my god.
Owned.
If you want to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We've only got about 15 minutes left in the show, so if you call up, make sure that your point is nice and organized in your skull casing.
And short.
Succinct.
So does that cover just about everything in terms of
that we can see right now? Yes. The only other thing that I'm curious about, and we won't really know what it is until Tuesday comes, is how Squadron compares to the class hall. Okay. Now this is something that Juxta was originally really excited about. I don't know what his feelings on it are now, but WoW has always said they don't want to do class specific stuff because then only a 10th or an 8th of the population would get to experience it based on your class. Now, I don't think they take into account the fact that people play multiple classes, but essentially what it comes down to is that you take on a leadership type role among the main faction of whatever class you are. So as a shaman, I'm now the leader of the Earthen Ring. Like, Thrall steps down, he's like, you take control.
Okay.
You're now in control of, my storyline was that I have to go around and unite the 4 elemental lords of Azeroth to help us fight against Legion. You have to do various quests, blah, 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 blah. You then recruit champions, so major lore figures like Rhaegar Earthfury, who's like the hero of the storm, or
Rhaegar Targaryen?
Lols. And you can, sometimes, some of them you can take out with you to adventure, but you send them on missions at your class hall. They have like different types that counter things in the mission, increase success chance, and they bring back loot, artifact power, quest items, all kinds of stuff. Gold. You upgrade them, you increase their item level. As they level up, they go from being like a common to rare to epic to rare to epic. So right now, like 2 of my guys are purple. Okay. You can put equipment on them that increases them. So it sounds kind of like what
sounds similar,
right? Yeah. What might be going on in Squadron. So I'll be excited to see that. But really, what it's going to come down to is the stuff that they bring back to me in WoW. I need those equipment things or their item level increases. I need the artifact power. If you're just going to bring me more fucking materia or chubs or stuff that I don't need...
They're going to bring you back the best fish. The best.
The big giant ones that are going to take up all 7 slots.
That's right.
I can't even put my chub in the fish tank. It's really depressing to me.
I'm putting piranhas in there. So just in case you do put your chub in there, it's the last thing anybody will put in our aquarium.
I just want a Dratini for mine.
I just want them to give everybody wyverns.
Don't worry. I'm sure the Pokemon and FF14 crossover is on the way.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Can we get Magikarp for my aquarium?
You know what I want from Squadrons? I want to be able to go into dungeons or out into the field with squad mates.
Well,
if
that's
they add just that.
Please look forward to it.
That's what's coming.
Please
I thought they said they were going to think of some way to implement that.
Yes, that is coming.
I thought that is something that they were working on.
But I wonder if it's going to end up being like, deploy your squadron to the dungeon, they will bring you back a weapon from said dungeon.
Yeah, maybe. It could be. All right, let's go back to our phone lines. We've got Torquil Ratherdashing hanging on. What's up, Torquil?
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Nice to finally talk to y'all.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
I wanted to talk about some stuff that the 14 team could learn from WoW. I think my big issue is the scale, the scope of Eorzea doesn't increase during an expansion cycle.
It
so
didn't. I think that's a little unfair to say about Heaven's Word, because we knew coming back into 2.0. First of all, in 1.0, we never had anything north of Korthus. We never had access to Ishgard. We never had any of that. So that they needed to pay off on that. First of all, we needed to go to Ishgard. We needed to be able to flesh out the areas around Korthus and north of Korthus. So
I think you misunderstood.
Okay.
So I meant like during Heaven's Word, like between 2.0 and 2.55.
Oh, okay.
And more than likely, 3.0 and 3.55, we get no new zones, we get no new raids.
Yeah, okay.
We're in the same spots the whole time. Whereas in WoW,
that's fair, yeah.
You get new zones, yeah. And my biggest thing is, you get new raids and new environments. Like, what really sucks, and I think is part of the reason Heaven's Word felt so stale, was because, the day Heaven's Word launched, we knew that, the raid we're getting tomorrow, over a year later, because we knew it was just going to be Alexander Part 3. Yeah. And I think it would be way more engaging if we had one slightly bigger raid with a great self-contained story, and then we could look forward to something new.
That's a great fucking point, Torque.
Even when it comes to dungeons, we get one rehash as a hard mode,
right.
And even the new dungeon is still aesthetically the same as what we've been seeing. The only thing that's sort of been a mystery is what we were going to get out of Void Ark and Weeping City.
Not even that. Okay, yeah, you're right. Void Ark, Weeping City, that whole kind of raid extension, we don't know where the third part of that is going. That's fair. But Torquil's point of the fact that we knew it was a predetermined conclusion,
Alexander,
that right now we would be getting the third leg of Alexander. I think that that's a great point, and something that never even really occurred to me, because we had the same thing with Binding Coil. We sort of didn't know what to expect because we didn't know what to expect from the raid environment from Square Enix, so that was kind of unknown. But the minute that you have had this sort of the regiment around your raid environment, and you say, hey, yes, we're going to continue that on into the next expansion, and then you get Alexander Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, that is very underwhelming.
Especially
boring.
When you compare the entire raid life cycle of Final Fantasy XIV. So Alexander 1, 2, and 3, 4 bosses, 12 bosses total, right? Not even the first patch of World of Warcraft, just Legion dropping, has 2 raids. One of them isn't open yet. But between those 2 raids, you have 14 bosses. That's already more than 14 has in an entire expansion cycle, unless you count looking for raid, then there's another 4 or 12.
Now, Torquil, I want to ask you a question. If the 3 raids were completely disconnected from each other, right? Like if we got Alexander for one update, and that was Alexander was complete in those 4 legs, and then we moved on to the next thing. Like, if they had done the Warring Triad and presented it in a raid structure similar to how they're presenting Alexander, right? The end of each raid leg, you faced off against one of the Warring Triad. Would that be as satisfactory or even more satisfying than what we currently have with Alexander and this trisected raid structure?
I think it would be more satisfying. I think part of the issue now is you build up all this emotional investment to do these cliffhangers, and then it's 3 months, and interest kind of wavers off. Whereas if you went through all of the process of the Warring Triad in one slightly extended go, then you can build up that hype into like that narrative interest into like a much bigger crescendo, and have these great epic kind of endings to it.
And it wouldn't be sort of like a a predispositioned.
We know where we're going to end up.
A preconceived notion that Part 3 is just going to be Part 3 of this leg. And really to that end, we don't know where the third part of Void Ark is going. So we do know that they are able to present that sort of structure. But even if it wasn't necessarily intertwined, if they operated independently from each other, even from a narrative standpoint, is that still something that you're good with?
Yeah, I think it would be great to have, maybe you have one raid series, and maybe it's the 24-man, maybe it's not, either way, that is semi-connected, like the Void Ark one.
Right.
But in such a way that we don't know the exact location we're going to go.
Right.
The environments are different. That would be great, but then have, even if we had another raid structure similar to that, but we were going to different types of places that, and here's kind of the trick, just like with a movie trilogy, right? Ideally, the stories are all relatively self-contained.
Yeah.
But they can link together into this bigger epic. And I think that's fine too.
Well, and especially if like with Alexander, you're going to be lifting those hard requirements to get from one leg to the other. They removed that with introducing story mode where you have to beat the first leg to be able to get to the second leg.
You know what I think their problem is, and I could be wrong, but just trying to theorize this, you have the Binding Coil, and they wrote a story within that.
Right.
You have Alexander, they wrote a story within that. You have the Circus Tower or whatever it was, and they put a story
Crystal Tower,
and they put a story within that.
Sure.
It's like they're choosing where they want to go first, and that's dictating the story. And, the Binding Coil story was fine. The Crystal Tower was a little lacking, and obviously Alexander people have found to be a little bit lacking. Maybe what they need to do is figure out what their story is first.
Sure.
Write that with no restrictions, right? That way you're getting a great narrative, you're getting characters, you're getting plot points, you're getting all this awesome stuff that people are going to be in, and then design the raid around that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I think really anything to shake up the structure of the presentation at this point is going to be to Square Enix's benefit. Thanks, Torquil, for the call. We appreciate it. We are just about at the end of the show here today, but before we shove off, let's check out what's going on in the FFFL.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Week number 7 of the FFFL is officially in the books, and what a week it was, because as of now, there is only one remaining undefeated team. More on that as we dive right into our results for the week. The Melusine Marauders scored a major win, taking down the previously undefeated Chicobos. The addition of Kooky Persona to their lineup proved to be their ace in the hole. With the win, they advanced to 3-4 and a third-place tie in the division.
Go
the loss
Kooky!
Brings the Chicobos to 6-1. The Balam T-Rexars parted ways with Hildebrand this week, signing Prish to their squad. Unlike the Marauders, the addition did not work out as they lost for the second time this season to Titans Banana Hammock. They fall to 3-4 while the Banana Hammocks advance to 5-2. The Super Senpai Megaforce continues to roll, crushing Beambo USA in another lopsided victory. They go to 7-0, while Beambo stays consistent and falls to 0-7. And speaking of 0-7, the Red Wings took another loss this week as they fell to the Verminion Lords. The Verminion Lords are now 3-4 as they try to make up ground in the second half of the season. Lastly, El Negro Grande suffered another close loss at the hands of the Edelweiss Avengers. After completing their season series, the total margin between the two games stands at merely 8%. El Negro Grande stands at 2-5, while the Avengers go to 6-1. On our waiver wire this week, we will be looking at Hildebrand, Orshafant, Bosch, Iroha, Vanille, Mog, Cecil, Godbert, the hero from Final Fantasy Adventure, and oh god, Hovernyan.
Who's that?
Hovernyan is
he's the best character in the world. He's floating right next to me.
How is that from Final Fantasy? That's from Yokai Watch.
What are you talking about? He's right next to me. He's in Final Fantasy XIV.
He's a Yokai Watch character. He doesn't count.
In Final Fantasy XIV.
He is in Final
Did
Fantasy
Juxta pay you to include him on the waiver wire?
Pay me? He just said put him on the waiver wire.
Oh, jeez. Is that all it takes?
Probably, so I can tell you to put anybody and you'll just do it?
If you can legitimately say why they're there, sure.
Put a Nero on the waiver wire.
Okay.
Yeah.
The waiver wire order for this week will be...
Wait. Can you actually draft people who manage other teams? That doesn't seem
We
right.
drafted Juxta last year.
Yeah. Last year, Juxta simultaneously won and lost the Hyper Bowl.
It's true. He did. The waiver wire order for this week will be Papa Woody, Gordor, Mad Hatter, Surin, Aniro, Nika, Juxta, Callow, Malkuthera, and Escalia. And our matchups for this week, we'll see Titan's Banana Hammock travel to the Wolves' Den in Limsa Laminsa to take on the Mellowscene Marauders. The Edelweiss Avengers put their 6-1 record on the line as they head down to the Blom Garden Training Center.
How is that putting it on the line?
For a match with T-Rex. I'm going to win. You don't even know it.
All right.
Angry from their first loss of the season, the Chicobos hit the road to Castle Baron and will take on the thus far winless Red Wings. El Negro Grande, meanwhile, will descend into the Chaos Shrine to square off with the still undefeated Super Senpai Megaforce. And lastly, the Verminion Lords, sponsored by All City State Chocobo Insurance, will travel down to Quarry Mill to take on the hapless Beambo USA. Experts have stated that for years that it's impossible for a team to go winless in a parity-driven league like the FFFL, but lo and behold, we have 2 teams this season who appear to be in a desperate bid to prove the naysayers wrong. For your weekly update in the FFFL, check out LimitBreakRadio.com this Tuesday night.
That's right. That's where all of the voting takes place. Also, you can follow at Limit Break Radio on Twitter. Make sure that you get involved and vote for who you want to win in this week's FFFL matchup. Thank you, Escalia, for that. And I think that's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio this week. I want to thank everyone for joining us live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. If you're listening on the podcast, happy update day, but also make sure that you head on over to twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Hit that follow button and join us live on Sundays. We start here at 1 p.m. on Sundays. So if you want to be a part of our live audience, call the show live, hang out with us in Eorzea, all of that good stuff. You can do that by joining us live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio at 1 p.m. on Sundays. Also, we want to share with you that we have finally finalized the plans for our FanFest after party. We are going to be having it at the Rock House in Las Vegas. It's not far from the Paris.
We'll bring the rock, you bring the roll.
So
thank God it's in Las Vegas.
So we ask that you keep an eye out on our Facebook page. We're going to be sharing the event as well as more info at our website. That's at limitbreakradio.com. But all of the the cover cost and all of that stuff. All of that will be in a couple of weeks or next week. We'll have more info on that, so you can make your plans for what you want to do on Friday night of FanFest. We hope that you'll come join us and celebrate 10 fucking years of podcasting. By the way, I want to send a huge shout out and thank you to Kooky Persona, who put a lot of this in line. She did a lot of the legwork on putting this event together. So thank you, Kooky, for all of your hard work as well as answering our phones and doing what you do in the chat room. We really appreciate your hard work here, Kooky. So that's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio. Kahlo, I want to thank you for your assignment in Azeroth and
now quit.
So now your assignment's over.
You're done. You're done.
You're done. You can come back to 14 now.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So no more streaming it. You don't need to stream it anymore.
Right.
It's time to come back on to Reset Tuesdays.
Hey, I was there last Reset Tuesday. Where were you?
Shit.
You were working, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Where were you, Nika? Where were you?
I told you I'm taking a class every Tuesday night now.
I haven't logged in a while. So.
Yeah.
I was doing FFFL.
I reset stream.
Every Tuesday until
I
December,
carry
I'm
my
taking
weight.
a class, so I won't be here.
Actually, technically, I think I was still putting the show together on Tuesday. So.
Yeah.
That's fine, though. The point was you were contributing to LBR.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I mean, you carry this thing. Oh, shit.
Says the guy who hasn't been here in like 3
But I've been doing stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, I still need 2 more quests for the Court of Ferrandis.
What are you doing? Get off your phone. You can't.
Oh, right. Sorry, I can do these world quests afterwards. It's fine. The Legion app.
If you were catching Pokemon, that would be forgivable. But I mean, it's time to put the WoW stuff in a box, put it away. It's done.
How do you do world quests on your phone?
We did the episode. It's done now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
We don't need WoW anymore.
Okay.
Okay. We're on the same page then.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna wrap up the BattleNet account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the account because
not the account.
Overwatch.
Yeah. Right. I get that.
So,
yeah.
okay.
But you're gonna just close it, right?
Sure.
Okay. Delete the character. Right. Yeah.
I think he's really going to do it.
I don't think he is. I don't believe that.
You know, a few people have questioned when I log in, when I like bring it up.
Yeah.
It says account name a Nero on there.
Oh, really?
Remember?
Yeah.
Because I gave my account to, was it Larry, I think? And then when I wanted to play again, you're like, oh, I'm never going to use my account ever again.
Yeah, take it.
So I'm actually playing on a Nero's account.
Yeah. Is that my BattleNet ID too? Or?
No.
Okay, I don't know how any of that shit
because
works.
the BattleNet ID came in later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did have a character. Does my character still even exist? No. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. You probably raided that long ago.
He was on a different server, so no.
Oh, okay.
But I did delete him.
I was because why? Was there even a reason to delete him, or you were just like, this is trash? Maybe it's level 27.
Maybe a little bit of that, and a little bit of like, this is just to remove the taint from the account. I tried to change the actual account name.
No,
too,
you can't
but
do
it won't
that.
let me do that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio this week. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We appreciate you hanging out and having an awesome time. Again, twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio to join us live, limitbreakradio.com for the podcast. That's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio this week. I want to thank my crew, of course, Kooky Persona, who's been answering phone calls, and Papa Woody hanging out in the background, getting us drinks and being an awesome intern. We also do want to thank our seasonal rehired intern, Scroat, a.k.a. Cock Rings, for doing nothing today, but constipating up our chat room with bullshit.
Do we have a new song that he can work on?
Nah, well, maybe. I don't know. But, of course, I want to thank my crew, Kalo Landis, Juxtaposition, Escalia Rayumasa, and Nika Kayanian. I'm Aniro. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Kalo Landis. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Captain Failboat, Zurian Urexin, Azura Giacho, Bianca Forwin, Kalina Ashsaber, Thor Carson, My Waifu, Satori Komeji, Darbykins, Sakura-chan, Dark Flux, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.